Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we have Adam on scene in MSM Studios in Washington. Adam, what's the conditions?
Yes, Dex, I am just getting you. Sorry for the delay. I am in MSM Studios right now. I can barely hear you. The wind is howling. It is absolutely horrendous. It is a torrential wind pour on the studio right now.
Did you say a wind pour?
Yes, a wind pour. That is only something that happens in the MSM Studios. We made that word up.
Okay, this is inside the studio.
Yes, sorry, the delay is very bad, Dex. But yes, this is MSM Studios. Anything can happen on mainstream television.
So let me get this straight. You have climate change inside the studio there in Washington.
Yes, Dex, climate change. You got it right, on the dot. That is climate change happening right here in front of you, folks.
Folks, this is unbelievable.
Are you still there, Dex? It's cutting out because of climate change.
Adam, please be careful. Watch out for the climate change.
I am. It is absolutely torrential. As you can see, everything behind me is not moving.
Please, make sure your both feet are on the ground.
It is cutting out, Dex. Back to you, Dex. Thank you, the reporting. Adam here from MSM Studios. It is extremely windy here, as you can see. The light behind me is usually moving. We will be right back with the call-in show, Marfoogle News. Wow, that was bad. And they call us fear porn. We call it a fun way to tell you the horrible things on Earth. What is up, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. If you've never been here before, this is a call-in show. Today we're going to go over all of the news from today and previously, and of course we are going to be taking your calls later. Someone stated, and this somebody was a nice person, and they said, you know, the whole thing with you and Dex is just kind of gimmicky. Well, I just have to say this. That's exactly what it's supposed to be. Because what we are about to talk about is not fun, and I have to warn you, if you are easily emotionalized by scary things, you probably shouldn't watch this show, because we are going to be talking about power outages in California, which everyone is talking about, and that's because no one believes the official story behind this. Now, I'm going to give you the facts, and we are going to talk about it, and we are also going to take your calls on the subject. Now, up to 3 million folks will be out of power. Is that correct, Dex? I just want to get your take on this.
Yeah, I think the reported number is actually lower, but when you account for the actual humans in the businesses, the buildings, and the homes, it's probably in that area of 3 million people be affected.
Now, so this is a storm, right? This is just the power going out because of a storm?
Yeah, I've never really understood turning the power off when you have wind, but apparently there's a big wind storm and dry air, and there's fear of fires. And obviously we had the big fire there in the past that was caused by Pg&E, so they are taking, I guess, a preemptive approach.
So, again, this is not a storm that has knocked out power poles and that's why people are out of power. It's preemptive. So they are telling residents of California that they are going to be doing mass power shutoffs of entire grids because of the potential for fire because they have such high winds. And people are saying, yep, and drinking the Kool-Aid, I'm assuming. By the way, Dex, has this ever happened before?
I have never heard of it happening. I've heard of power outages from weather, but it's usually because the weather took the power out, not because we took the power out before the weather got here.
Yeah, I've never heard of that as well. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about what's going on around the world. Again, yesterday and the days before, we did not do a show, unfortunately. Dex was still coming back from Florida. You guys may have watched some of his shows with Jay Stone. Him, his wife, Jay Stone, all ended up meeting up in Florida, and then they ended up meeting with Central Florida Prepper as well. So people are physically meeting, getting together, doing all sorts of things together. Just got news that yet another meeting in several states went very, very well as far as, we've gotten many reports of these meetings growing each time. So that's an amazing thing. I'm super, super happy. We are actually, almost every week setting a new record. And even if it's a little record for some states, I know that some states were, disappointed with 15 people or 12 people. That's great. Okay, the fact that 12 people or 15 people are meeting up and talking prep and talking about stuff that basically they have zero people to talk about with at work, that's amazing. If you did not know, we have 50 state groups, and some states actually have, it broke down into sections. So like California is so large, they have, I believe, 6 groups. Is that right, Dex? Or is it more? They have zones.
Yeah, they have zones. There's a handful of zones, but even within a single zone, there's multiple groups meeting. It's fantastic, and it's just who can get together where, what's convenient with the different folks. It's everybody's trying to get together and learn from one another.
And that's, again, California just had a successful meeting separate from the kind of the bigger meeting. Now they have even smaller groups meeting, and they have specialists in that group. I actually talked with them at the bigger California meeting last time. All of the people that I talked to had kind of a special skill or a talent or a career that really made sense to kind of have them meeting together and talking about things. That was great. And they are actually meeting separately, and now they've become friends. So a lot of things are coming out of this channel other than this content. So we are very excited to tell you there's a lot of weird stuff with this. I'm going to tell you, this is very, very weird. The fact that they are purposely turning off the power just shows you even more. There's so many weird things going on with our grid, with them testing it. Is this some sort of test to try to prevent something in the future? And maybe they just, they don't want to worry people, so they're going to say it's for this. I mean, they could have waited 6 months to do this around a windstorm so they could test something, add something to the grid. The thing is we at least know, because we've covered this. We showed you just a few weeks ago the actual report. What was that report called, Dex? I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was an official report from NERC, I believe. And it was called
it was the annual report from the NERC, and I don't remember what else was in the title, but it was the report that they do every year, and they look over the in that particular case they were talking about the reported events that weren't actually reported in mainstream. So we had
reported to the public. So
to the public, right?
Yeah. So it was like 578 over the last 9 years. One was reported to the public, and right. I believe that was a cyber event. So correct. What we get out of that is that 578 events. Maybe there's even if half of those were kind of harmless, people jumping over the fence or whatever. Half of them were people driving into it on accident. Even if half of those, there was a good percentage of those which were people actually firing at the things with high-powered rifles, which we know from famous, what was it, a senator, a congressman that wrote a book about this and said, there's several famous people who have wrote their concerns about our grid going down. But they have wrote that, a well-placed shot into one of these things could actually take one down. Now, if you take down 9 at the same time, or at least as of last year, they said if they knew the specific 9 transformers to take down, they could take down our whole grid. And that is without an EMP. So again, for them, there's so many, things that happen and they don't report it to the public. So again, we're also excited to let you guys know that we care about the creators in this family. I want people to know that no matter how much negativity is going on around you, you need to stay positive. If people hear negative things said about the channel, just understand we definitely got close to something. I mean, it's one thing to go after me, but going after everybody around, I mean, it's pretty obvious by now, like they just do not want this thing existing. So with that being said, there's no need to defend me as far as, I appreciate it. I appreciate the people that have come to my aid, but we need to stop this recycling of this crap. We need to stay positive. We need to pray for everyone involved, including on our side and their side and everybody's sides, however you want to say it. We just need to get back to being positive and pushing forward. With that being said, there's some cool things that we are going to do. There are a lot of YouTube creators that started because of this channel. And they started specifically because I honestly think this is true. People just need somebody to tell them, you can do it, start it, don't wait. That's all you have to really say. And to the right person, it clicks and they go, I want to start a channel. I want to do this. I want to get my words out there. I want to get my opinion. And boom, they started. We have now helped over 200 small channels either get to the monetization point, which means they can actually be suggested in this algo, Mr. Rhythm. And we've also helped several even just get started. We have, folks who would never even think about doing this, editing full-on tour videos and vlogging and all these sorts of things. So for the creators in this family, we are going to start a once-a-week segment where we take one of the YouTube creators and we're going to do a spot on them in this show. And if you do get chosen for that, you will most likely also get a shout-out on the main channel as well, kind of a little spot at the end of one of our videos. This will help them grow, and it will just pick one at random every week so they can also grow as well. Now, with that being said, we're also going to actually bring up, while we're working on the program for any Foogle Family business owners. So even if you own a tire shop, or if you own a online business or a storefront in wherever, Muskegee, whatever, doesn't matter where you're at, we're going to open up something. We're working on the infrastructure to help you guys coordinate together. Is going to be, completely free for you guys to communicate with each other. And we're going to just encourage that you guys help each other and purchase something. If there's something for $1 more from a Foogle family member, go with that Foogle family member instead of going with something off of eBay or Amazon. And we are building things to actually highlight creators and help them grow as well, so they can get their words out there, or to get their opinion, or just to get get out there and do their thing. So as you guys know, I've done that since I've started, and that's why that's what I do credit a lot of my success to. People don't know how we're growing. It's because I've done nothing but help others. And when you help others and you push others up, people are obviously gonna return the favor. They're gonna share your stuff. They're going to talk about you to several other people. I'm sure that there's a channel out there with 1,000 subscribers that they're telling oh, how'd you get that? We sent Marfoogle News sent a love mom. And then they go, well, what's that? Look it up. 10 people ask that, then you got 10 people. Then those 10 people do the same. Boom. And I highly recommend that any creator in the family make sure to go into your comments, respond to everybody. It got to the point where I couldn't respond to everybody, and it feels bad, but at this point, we're just trying to do as much as we can positive-wise, and, it's not always easy, and it's definitely not easy, sometimes, but you got to just keep trucking through. You got to keep your head up. You got to keep positive. We have a beautiful life here, so it's about time that we all start realizing there are way bigger things to do. There's way bigger fish to fry. The community here is all divided and pitted against each other. It's pretty crazy. We need to be focused on what's going on. We are going to be hit on the side of the head. They absolutely want us talking about each other or something else rather than looking up and spending all of our valuable time looking up what the hell's really going on. I mean, this is getting serious. Look at what's happening in California right now. All right, Dex. So I'm glad Dex is screening. If you do call in at 224400 you can actually give him an article, or if you have something news-wise, if we have breaking news that's happening while we're live here, this is a live show, you can actually give that to Dex. Dex has a live communication with me, and then I can show it on the screen. I can end up having that news out immediately during this 2 to 3 hour show. Not only that, all of the articles that we're covering today come from an actual source. We don't just tell you this, and that, and then expect you to believe us. We actually do a bibliography on our website every single episode. So just to show you, if you go to our website, you can actually click on this thumbnail, and you will get to the website here, and you'll get to this. This is the video. You can watch it live from the website, or you can watch it archived a month from now. And if you go down below, you will actually see every article that we have featured here today. You can even take a second device and actually follow along with us. So you can read. If we only hit a paragraph of something in the headline, you can actually go on and read the rest while we go on to the next. And of course, you can always pause and go back. So there is a lot of things going on. We're going to talk about it. We're going to hit it right now. Dex, thank you for screening. Again, we will bring you back here in a minute.
Sounds good.
All right, so there is lots of things going on right now. This is the third world. Up to 3 million Californians to lose power as PG&E begins, quote, unprecedented blackouts. As previewed last night, PG&E Corporation, California's largest bankrupt utility, began shutting off power Wednesday to an unprecedented 3 million people in Northern California in the face of hot, windy weather that raises the risk of wildfires. And while the high winds are forecast to subside by late Thursday, the company will undertake extensive inspections of its equipment before turning the electricity back on, meaning outages could persist into the next week. More than 3 million people may be eventually affected. Based on city estimates and average household size, the economic impact may reach $26 billion. Yes, I added an effect to that, because that is a whole crud load of money. And why are they doing it? They are purely doing it to stop a fire. Is that, I guess we would have to know how much money how much was the damages from a fire? Was it more than $2.6 billion? Because if this is going to cause $2.6 billion and the fires cost $2 billion, where's the offset? The fires would cause loss of life, which obviously turning off the power very well could too, depending on the scenario. What if somebody didn't get the notification? What if there is an elderly person who, does not have somebody that checks on them, and they have, equipment that they depend on, like air machines, and maybe they even have a battery backup for their air machine, but then after it runs out, what are they going to do? I honestly wonder about what is going on here with this, and I'm just asking the question. That's all we ever do. Which, by the way, I'm seeing channels around me get knocked off, and there's a kind of a common denominator is they're questioning. So again, I have to ask in every episode, if anything ever happens to us, make sure to hop on every kind of platform you can and try to get us back on. People say, oh, everybody's been knocked out and you haven't. Oh, we are just as close as anybody else. That's why we say T-Man, President and Commander-in-Chief and Yak and all these words. It's because we are reaching a lot of people and we're getting out a lot of information that normally would not come out. It says 500,000 homes and businesses in Northern California have already lost power as PG&E orchestrates the biggest ever intentional power shutoff to keep its lines from sparking blazes. The company was scheduled to shut service down to another 234,000 customers in cities like Berkeley and Oakland at noon local time, but told city and county officials that those cutoffs will instead start Wednesday evening. Strong, dry winds that heighten the risk of wildfires are picking up later than forecast, the company said. So this is obviously the one woman working in the entire office. And of course, since she is the one woman in charge, she has to have gigantic monitors. Holy moly. Those are huge. Sorry, I've just never even seen monitors that big for... Well, I mean, what is she doing? Is this like an intern doing her training? What kind of earphones are they forced to wear there? They can't get some beats? Okay, sorry, I digress. This is oddly strange, and I will tell you, do you guys believe, if you think this is completely normal, and do you think, if you think that this is because of the risk of fire, press 1. If you think it could be anything else, press 2 in the chat now. I would love to get your feedback on this, because I don't believe it. Just personally, but that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. As far as all of this going on, Dex, do you feel like this is one of the strangest things ever? I mean, I've never heard of this in my entire life. Turning off power on purpose.
Yeah, it's certainly strange. I mean, there was many billions of damages done in the last round of the fires that were caused by Pg&E. I think they reached $1 billion settlement on it. But yeah, this is strange. It's a buzz. Everybody's talking about it. There's lots of thoughts about, what happened last time, and is it going to repeat, or is this actually going to prevent it, or is there something more sinister happening here that we just don't understand?
If you look right here, even if you're watching the replay, you will notice there is a whole lot of 2s. And of course, one Rosemary Villela says 3. That's okay, Rosemary. We all still love you. So it's pretty obvious. I mean, that's got to be 100 2s by now. We have over 3,000 folks watching, and almost everyone agrees that there are all 2s. And of course, John Nelson, he is not familiar with numbers. Okay, well, we will get back to this. I would love for you guys all to reach out, and I know all of you send in news. You send in news, you send in articles, sometimes you send in government documents. Amazed by the smart, wonderful people in the audience. You guys are what makes this show amazing. Reach out and figure out what the heck is going on. If you kind of have a better inside scoop on this, give us a call at 224-400-MARF. Again, the number scrolls down below. It's 6273 if you are on a touch-tone phone instead of MARF. Live updates. Second wave of blackouts delayed. CHP investigates possible shooting at PG&E worker. Now, this is really weird, as you never hear about this in general. At the same time as the blackout, a PG&E worker just got shot at. Here's kind of a update on the timeline. It says 4:08 p.m. total homes and businesses affected by outages so far is 489,329. That's 500,000 people. PG&E data shows this is how many customers are out, and each customer accounts for a home or business. And by the way, so can I just say this is exactly why people should have supplies? Did these folks get 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month notice that this was going to happen? No. They got a matter of, I mean, Dex, they gave him a matter of a day or so, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, that's when I've started hearing about it, was a day ago. But yeah, it's, not much notice. Like, get your cars charged and get your batteries backed up.
What if you're in between paychecks? What if you don't have money for supplies and you don't think about this kind of stuff? This is exactly why we tell you to prep. Doesn't matter what it is. There's plenty of channels like Alaskan Prepper. He every paycheck, he even spends $5 or $10, like literally the tiniest percentage. Skip one Starbucks coffee and buy $5 to $10 worth of supplies, whether that be candles or a little flashlight. I mean, there's so many items under $10 that would help in a situation like this. Some of them that you could get in bulk. I mean, you can get 10 candles for $10 at the dollar store. Or you can get 100 tea light candles, whatever it may be. And this is exactly why. They gave him no warning. And then it says 408 officials confirm that someone shot at a Pg&E vehicle. California Highway Patrol confirmed that a bullet hit a Pg&E vehicle in Colusa County on Wednesday morning. So apparently people are really pissed. It says 408 Oroville police increased security at local Pg&E office. Security was increased after an angry customer threw eggs at the window. A police dispatcher said, quote, "The safety of our customers and employees is PG&E's primary responsibility. We know that turning off the power for safety is not popular with some, but it is needed for public safety," said Tamar Sarkisson, and PG&E's spokesperson. It says, "We remind our customers that our employees are your neighbors and they are out in our service area doing their jobs." I think this is absolutely nuts. And, I would say don't blame these people working, their regular jobs. They're doing their jobs. People shouldn't be trying to hurt them. But what is this really? Who would shoot at a PG&E employee? What the heck is going on? I mean, just imagine if people act like this on the first day that power goes out intentionally and they get notice of it. What do you think is going to happen if we have an EMP? Just think about that. Day one, somebody is so mad he is willing to use a lethal weapon on a PG&E employee who most likely did nothing to him. We know from previous situations, even your local pastor, your neighbor, say he's a pastor of a church, when it comes down to survival, we have had situations where a pastor has turned into a hostage taker to protect his family. So there are many things that can happen, and you have to prepare for all of it. It says 4:08 a.m. p.m. AM/PM. Outages could cost billions. Economists estimate that the power outages could cost Northern California millions or even billions of dollars. Michael Awera of Stanford University said residential customers could be hit with $65 million in cost, and commercial customers could raise that total to $2.5 billion. Jesse Jenkins, which sounds like a name you would come up with on a prank call, of Princeton, said a 5-day blackout could cost around $960 million. Sorry, $960 million. That is an Austin Powers amount of money. San Jose city officials say outage could last 7 days. Offer advice. Are you kidding me? You give people, how is that on purpose? How could that possibly be due to prevent something? 1 day notice, 7 days out of power. This is not okay. City leaders said at a press conference that the outage will mostly affect East San Jose along the foothills and Almaden Valley. Officials urge people to commute home before 8 p.m. when power will shut off. Officials urged people to commute home before 8, and then it says, and stop at intersections without power. Police do not have enough staff to direct traffic at all major intersections. A city leader also instructed people to be compassionate and kind to PG&E employees. Excuse me. It says NWS reports bone-dry humidity levels. Much of Napa County had relative humidity levels that dip below 10%. Check the map for more details. RED lag warning conditions. I don't even say this word, by the way. And I will zoom in, so it's not like anybody will be like, I don't know what he said. What word won't he say? This word. I'm showing it. That word. It's in blue. The blue word. Zzz. Either way, it says low humidity and strong winds continue and are expanding in North Bay Mountains. So this is the whole kind of deal here, right? People are pissed off. People are shooting at PG&E customers, the employees. This is how serious it got within one day. And they say some places may have 7 days of this. What if, 1, you don't have supplies, 2, you don't have family, 3, you have nowhere to go that does have power? What if you have kids? What if you have a newborn? Like I think if we were just out for 7 days, we would have supplies, but that's still not going to help with, we've got a newborn baby. How the heck would we do that? We can't even do that with power. It's hard enough with power, but without power for 7 days, and it's something that didn't have to happen. I mean, it is out of prevention for a fire. I get it. But you would think there would be a better solution than taking away the thing that they say we basically would have 90% of us perish if it went down across the country. It is not safe to turn off power, especially when you're talking about commercial businesses, looting. All these things could happen. So I guess that they do have, and you guys, if you are from that area and somehow, on the show or in the chat, if you are somehow there, how does this work? Do they have all the police officers watching these businesses? This is a purposeful, no warning power outage. This isn't even because of the wind. Or is it? They've never done this in the past, and now they're doing it now. Are we sure? It doesn't seem to me like something that cost $2.6 billion to prevent something that could cost the same, or that might not happen. Like, I get it. Fires basically have happened every year. So what do they think this is going to do? Somebody could drive down the freeway, throw one cigarette butt, and all of this is for nothing. No joke. If the humidity's that bad, anything will start a fire. So I understand the official story of this. I get it. But there's probably a reason why this has never happened before. At least not like this. This is at least 500,000 folks out of power right now. And I believe during our worst and absolute worst storm here, 1 million people lost power. This is half of the worst storm in history that we've had in the last 40 years. And they're doing it on purpose? Love to hear what you guys think. Call us at 224-400-MARF. If you want to see either one of these articles, of course, you can always go to marfooglenews.com, and they are right there.
Adam, just in, some ham radio operators are telling us that repeaters are down in Northern California. And
what?
The other thing to think about, some of the repeaters they use are offline.
Aren't those supposed to always have power?
Well, everything doesn't have power right now. If the power's out, the power's out. And I guess if the repeater has a generator or some sort of backup, but that's up to them. The other thing to think about, though, in addition to that, is this is the time where they're really going to be testing the emergency medical portion of their systems and programs, because there's a lot of people that rely on power just for their health. And I think you mentioned that, but we'll find out tomorrow. We'll find out over the next few days, how they are able to actually manage with that if they go with these long-term power outages.
Wow, this is crazy. And why, I mean, you would think that these things have what are the ham radio operators' plans going to be if we lose power, then we're going to lose these anyways, right?
Well, yeah, I guess it's up to each operator if they're going to run on, an alternate form of energy. But the word I just got from somebody on Discord was that they had noticed a few of the repeaters had gone offline.
Sounds to me like some sort
Mostly
of
up north.
test. How are and then of course because of this, ham radio operators are actually they're getting in there, they're communicating in California, and obviously they can't get through to some areas because the repeaters are down. This is kind of a little cartoon that shows that I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. That's why I depend on you guys to call in and let me know. If you're a ham radio operator and you've experienced this, give us a call and help us confirm that. 2244-00-MARF. That would be a scary thought if we really did have a whole grid down situation and you can't even communicate via ham radios. Now, I'm assuming they can communicate without the repeaters if they have a certain kind of antenna. That's something that I would like to know. Either way, this is nuts. Now we have things going on, obviously, in other parts of the world. The lunch meat, Turkey, launches military offensive in Syria. And yes, I know I'm saying it wrong, and I do it on purpose. What's happening? Turkey's military has begun its operation in northern Syria. Turkey's president announced as part of an offensive to move U.S.-backed Kurdish forces away from its border. It says why it comes days after President DT provoked a storm of criticism, including within his own party, by announcing that U.S. troops would be pulled back from the border area. U.S.-backed Kurdish allies abandoned, and it says Trump's decision effectively provides Turkish troops with a green light to attack Kurdish allies, though T-Man threatened to punish Turkey economically if it does, quote, anything outside of what we think is humane. It says, an hour before Turkey launched its operation in northern Syria, we'll just call it Syria for now, to clear U.S.-backed Kurdish forces away from its border, President DT took Twitter to condemn America's military interventions in the Middle East. It says, quote, going into the Middle East is the worst decision ever made in history of our country. T-Man has been itching to leave Syria for months, once dubbing it nothing but sand and death. That was a quote from him, sand and death. And as he has been at pains to point out, T-Man was elected president on a promise to get out of these, quote, ridiculous, endless conflicts. But the sudden pullback of U.S. forces and the desertion of the Syrian Kurds, a key ally in the fight against ISIS, comes just as regrouping by ISIS is taking shape. What do you think is going on here, Dex? This is sounds like we're, and I want to hear what you have to say, and I'm going to bring up something that we kind of went over last week.
Yeah, I mean, we continue to see the conflict in ME, and there's a new player in town that's sort of coming through, and that's going to cause as we pull back and they're pulling in or moving in. I think there's another article that's really got me concerned about that we'll talk about in a minute, and that's what's the effect of the POWs, if you want to call them that are there, right? And that's what's a little concerning. And there's been a lot of people that have been detained, and will they be undetained by this new force coming through?
And there's a lot of
some enemies, right?
We need to confirm an update on that other story as well too, because there was some weird stuff that went on over in I'm trying to remember the city name. There was a whole command station that was moved back to the States temporarily, and we don't know for sure if it stayed temporarily. Do you remember that?
Yes, it was moved into the Carolinas, South Carolina, I think it was.
It was either South or North Carolinas, where they took a mobile command center that has normally been there. It's not even a mobile command center. It was a command center that was normally in, I'm trying to think, a place that's normally safe. Oh my gosh, it's, I can't think of the freaking name. Oh, it has some sort of, like, I think of Indiana Jones when I think of the name. Either way, they moved that. I want to get an update on that, because them pulling out, hundreds of people, hundreds of staff out of that place was very, very odd in itself. But then to relocate it here and to do all of their operations from here was a real big flag that this was something weird. Like something was about to go down over there and they needed them to be here. So lots of little things happening that people aren't connecting, and once you do connect it, it's pretty scary. Just want to say thank you to T. Fisher. That's huge. That's totally unnecessary and super appreciated. You didn't even write a message with that, so thank you. $49 super chat. That's super excessive, so thank you. Northern Tiger, love you, Foogle Fam. Marf and Dex, keep up the great work. Anthony Laberte, I think they are all pumping all that unused electricity into an LHC style collider somewhere, Berkeley maybe, likely opening a portal. Be well, Marfians. That is actually one of the most interesting things I've heard, like, in days. So what Anthony Laberte is saying, that maybe they turned off all of this power to send it to some sort of, collider like they have at LHC, and to open a portal in the United States. That's like some Stranger Things stuff right there. And then Ryan Miller, thank you. I appreciate that. Prepper Ilea, as a fire survivor, I will happily endure a public safety power shutoff rather than enduring the hell of excavating the mountain again. Saving lives from the potential of another devastating paradise fire is a good thing. Prepper Ilea, I believe you are, yes, so you are a fire survivor. So I understand that pain comes really close. I would love to hear, anyone's opinions from that neighborhood. Prepper Ilea says, we were notified of the outage on Sunday night. Okay, so now, let's see here. It's Wednesday, and it started going out. So they gave 2 days notice, but still, sorry, Prepper Ilea, that still to me does not seem like, enough time to prepare for 7 days without power. Adelasia Krigar says, sir, note volcanic fields and where power is out and not. That's a strange thought too. So Adelasia Krigar is saying, note where the volcanic fields are and where power is not out and is out. That's actually really interesting. J.R. Pale Horse says, thanks for recommending Renee Thomas' channel. Renee Thomas is great. If you haven't checked her out, she is a call-in show as well. And Japanese name says, I was a troll. Interesting enough. I don't know what your name is, or I can't read Chinese, but that's cool. Ryan Miller, we had a bad windstorm in Spokane, Washington in November 2015. We were without power for 6 days. That was pretty rough. Yeah, well, Spokane, you guys, I want to say you guys are in kind of a valley. So you guys get some rough weather. And that's why I said, when we had that lightning that happened, which, by the way, was covered around the world because of how crazy it was to have it here, is like, in Yakima or over there, they have lightning storms. They're crazy, like boom, 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 boom. But even there, or in Florida, the lightning capital of the world, they don't have, 2,500 strikes in 4 hours. That was, in my opinion, unnatural, which, of course, I argued with several people over. Cactus Jane, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And then, of course, I need to welcome some new subscribers and new family members. Thief-in-Law, I love it. Thief-in-Law, welcome to the fam. Wrecked State, welcome to the fam. I appreciate you. Minus Tide, thank you for joining. Alicia James, thank you for joining. Charlie Rose, thank you for joining. Alan Talley, DJ Lowe. Let's see. Wally Harris, Ronnie Lowe, Colleen Billsby, Jeremy Hill, and Jiggy. Thank you for all joining in the last couple hours. As always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout out. Bob Tom says, quote, "You were a troll for who? I don't know." I kind of get it. Cool Mad Mike says everyone should demand underground power lines now. So yeah, that's actually a good, in the richer neighborhood, they have underground power lines. That's a good point. Cool Mad Mike. Here is this is a story saying fears ISIS will use Turkish invasion of Syria to free 15,000 bloodthirsty jihadis currently locked up by Kurds after Baghdad's call for breakout. It says Kurdish fighters have warned that Turkey's Syrian invasion may allow ISIS to attempt mass prison breaks as the U.S. backs out of its occupied territories. More than 15,000 ISIS fanatics are currently jailed in northeast Syria as Turkey plans the cross-border military operation. The forces have warned that the ISIS sleeper cells are actively plotting to free about 12,000 militants currently detained by the Kurds and may take advantage of the Turkey-triggered turmoil to aid their plans. With Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan branding Syrian Kurds as terrorists amid the bloody Kurdish insurgency plaguing the country. The group, previously backed by U.S. troops, have hit out at America, accusing them of abandonment. Now, there's some... Now, it says it comes as Fox News reports that higher-ups at the Pentagon were, quote, completely blindsided by the U.S. decision to pull out of Syria and stop fighting beside the Syrian Kurds. So this only says to me something is about to happen. We are changing little connections that we have with different sides. Something just changed behind the scenes that we don't know about. Obviously, if the Pentagon was hit on the side of the head, then that's some pretty weird stuff. So there's most definitely something that has changed that is only known at the presidential level that made them decide to switch out that quick. This is very odd. It says, T-Man says, U.S. doesn't endorse Turkey's assault on Syria. President DT said Wednesday the U.S. does not endorse Turkey's military assault on Syria, calling the operation, quote, a bad idea. T-Man's written statement was issued hours after Turkey, a NATO ally, launched an offensive against Kurdish fighters in Syria, who have helped the U.S. against the IS state, but are viewed by Turkey as T-cells. T-Man's recent decision to pull back U.S. troops leaves those fighters vulnerable. So essentially, we were helping them side by side, and then he kind of yoinked them back like a yo-yo. The United States does not endorse this attack and has made it clear to Turkey that this operation is a bad idea. That's a direct quote from our president, T-Man, Commander-in-Chief. He said, no American soldiers are in the area. And this is a direct quote again, from the first day I entered the political arena, I made it clear that I did not want to fight these endless, senseless conflicts, especially those that don't benefit the United States. T-Man added that, quote, Turkey has committed to protecting civilians, protecting religious minorities, including Christians, ensuring no humanitarian crisis takes place, and we will hold them to this commitment. He said that the U.S. will monitor the situation closely. So we are basically saying, you guys can go at it. We're not going to be the police force on this one. What do you guys think of this? Do you think that was a good idea? Do you think this is something that, previous presidents wouldn't have done? Like, this is something like where he's like, hey, common sense is let them handle it. This isn't good as far as politically and financially. We're spending a lot of money to put them where they might not belong. Or do you think they should belong there? Should we even be there over there in the first place? See, we play the world's daddy and saying, oh, we'll protect you. We'll come in and do this. We'll come and do that. But where is the line where it kind of draws, like where we do have so much power that we should step in? It's kind of like it's the big bully on the corner and sees some other kids bullying a kid, and that bully comes in and kind of steps in and says, "You leave him alone." But yet, where is it placed to do that, you know? And what did the kid that's get bullying do? It's a very odd situation here. Ryan, and yes, I know I'm saying that wrong, and I do it on purpose, launches surprise drill near Turkey border. Maybe something is going on with Ryan and Turkey. Beirut, October 9th. This is from the Associated Press, so this is pretty official. It says, Ryanian state television says the Islamic Republic has launched a surprise military drill with Army Special Operations Forces near the country's border with Turkey. It says the exercise comes amid Ryan's opposition to Turkey's planned invasion of northern Syria, and it says the Syrian Kurds are U.S. allies in the war against the Riz state group. The sudden Ryanian drill was announced on Wednesday. The TV report says it's overseen by Major General Abdulrahim Mousavi, chief of Ryan's army. However, the state TV didn't mention that the expected Turkish operation nor elaborate on the number of troops taking part in the drill in Quisanchi in Ryan's western Azerbaijan province. It says the area is about 620 kilometers or 385 miles northwest of Tehran. Ryan and Russia are both key allies of the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad long embattled government. Both have troops on the ground in Syria. While they may publicly oppose a Turkish incursion into Syria, they probably don't mind an operation that diminishes the Kurdish forces. Now, this is where Russia comes in. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is accusing the United States of playing, quote, very dangerous games with the Syrian Kurds. Those fighters were top U.S. allies in the war against Islamic State group in Syria. Lavrov said during a visit to Kazakhstan on Wednesday that the U.S. first propped up the Syrian Kurdish quasi-state in northeastern Syria and is now withdrawing its support. He says that, quote, such reckless attitudes is to this highly sensitive subject can set fire to the entire region, and we have to avoid it at any cost. What do you think about that, Dex? It says that Russian news agencies carried Lavrov's comments and reported that Moscow has communicated that position to Washington. So what are they thinking about this?
Well, I mean, if they're communicating it, that's kind of a big deal, right?
So they're passing it back and forth essentially, and this is a bigger deal than people think. Let's see here.
I mean, this whole little tension buildup has sort of come out of nowhere, right? I mean, we've been doing, negotiations with lunch meat country for a while over F-35s and other things. Now we pull back, we pull out. There's a lot of radicalized folks that were being detained that are enemies of us, and now they're going to be up for grabs, so to speak. And you've got Ryan sitting right there doing what they're doing. So, yeah, the place is a mess. Madhouse.
Wow. So, I don't think people realize how much distraction is going on right now. With the California thing that's going on too, I don't think people realize they've had some really expensive distractions. Now, I'm not saying that's what it is, but man, there are some really crazy things that go on behind the scenes. And, we've all seen these movies with political things that happen, and you're like, wow, it's crazy, and they call it science fiction. But some of these actually have consultants and actual, a lot of the big budget films have these consultants that are actual CIA, actual NSA, and they make it as real as possible to make it feel, like the real deal, real life. And a lot of these things have happened. if you're looking at the born supremacy and blah, 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 yes, of course there's less explosions and probably less zip lining across from, skyscraper to skyscraper. But as far as some of the things that go on in real life, I think people need to realize that a lot of this is, really scary stuff happening. By the way, so people are talking about this. JT, sleeper cells in Minnesota intel to point to an FF. MN, what? I'm sorry, I am bad with the state abbreviations. MN, is that Minnesota? I don't know if you know the answer to that. Okay, I thought so. Sleeper cells TM in Minnesota. Intel to point to a Fantastic Freddy or FF. That is one thing. JT, there's a lot of stuff. I'm probably going to get that. When I'm doing this, I've got so much stuff going on my end. I apologize if I'm not fully understanding that. But it will probably come hit me in a second. Bob Tom says he was asking the Japanese guy. He said he was a troll. LOL. By the way, I saw in the chat, somebody says if somebody was a troll and they are coming back, give them a second chance. We want to give people 2, 3, 4, 5 chances. By the way, when somebody is a lot of the time, somebody is a troll because of something that they, a lot of people, there's a lot of people that I really kind of miss around here. And if they're being told crappy information and then basing why they're a troll on that, I understand. So if, I'm hoping, and I actually want to talk to a couple of the people in this group. When somebody comes back and apologizes, don't be a jerk, be accepting of that. If somebody does come back genuinely and apologizes, then, don't be a jerk to them. So I definitely say, you guys know me. I have people in here that in the beginning, like were my, they hated me and they're still around in the chat. Like we've let plenty of people back that have done horrible things. So we're all human. Like that's the whole point of this group. And then as far as the Japanese gentleman, well, welcome back. Carlos Molina says, I came here thanks to Edge of Wonder. I would love to see you in their YouTube channel. I haven't talked to Ben lately. I've never talked to his partner there, but I've talked to Ben quite a few times. And yeah, they're just really busy. They've got their edgeofwonder.tv that they produce is on top of their YouTube channel. So if you guys want to see a collaboration between the three of us, I guess, head over there and say, hey, when are you going to collaborate with Marf? And put thumbs up on their channel and so on. T. Fisher, thank you, Adam and Sir Dex, too. Keep on with the good work. Much respect. T. Fisher, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm assuming I thought I've never met you, but now I just think I realize. Just want to let you know that that's not required. Let's see. Bob Tom, conflict, and he said the W word for that. Conflict is not going to happen unless the elite from the United Nations want it to happen. They control conflicts. There's a lot of things going on that with NATO right now, and we're actually looking into that. So there's something to be said about that. Mary Therese Gorham, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. And welcome to the fam. And as always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout out. Okay, so let's see here. The USS Nimitz UFO, quote, were always there and secret spyware upgrade exposed them. This is kind of an odd story, and it says a former U.S. Navy Senior Chief Operations Specialist who specialized in radar systems has claimed UFOs have always been present, but only became visible after, quote, a top secret upgrade on spyware. What? So you added this in here, Dex. I didn't see this before the show. A former U.S. Navy Senior Chief Operations Specialist who specialized in radar systems has claimed UFOs may have always been present, but only became visible after, quote, a top secret upgrade on spyware.
I know. Isn't this crazy?
What? Okay, so we have covered that they are talking about in mainstream, like seriously, every single day now, that they're like, well, what if you did find out that there are, alien life forms on other planets? And they keep saying, how are we going to take it if we find out there's life on other planets? They are desensitizing it to us. Now they're telling us, this is the USS Nimitz, U.S. Navy Senior Chief Operations Specialist saying this. USS Nimitz UFOs were always there, and a secret spyware upgrade exposed them. What? This is like out of the movie They Live. It's like they put on the freaking sunglasses and all of a sudden everybody's like, this is nuts, Dex. They are straight up telling us, but not telling us. They're about to tell us that UFOs and aliens exist. Is this straight up, like, are the people saying that the fake alien invasion is going to happen? Are they right?
They've got to be. I mean, it's every day we're getting more and more. If it's it's not snake-like UFOs in the sky, then it's the military admitting that the UFOs we've seen on their radars and on their planes, and the fighter pilots talking about chasing them, is all real. And
I am blown away.
We've got this telling us, that we just upgraded. We just put the cool sunglasses, like you said, on top of our radar, and boom, now we can see everything.
I mean, literally, this is like straight out of the 80s movie They Live, which, if you guys have not seen, is one of the most amazing, subliminal. I mean, literally, they talk about subliminal messages in that movie. They put on these glasses and all the posters say, obey. I mean, that was a big part. I think the Obey company, that clothing line, I think he got that kind of from that movie, like the idea from that. I don't know if that's exactly, but I always thought of that. Every time I saw Obey shirts, I would think of that movie. And the posters, when you put it on, it was all white, and there was a subliminal message on all the posters, and it said, obey, listen to police officers, drink more, buy more stuff. And it had it everywhere. Everything had it. And then aliens were disguised by this satellite dish that was putting out this basically a signal that let us all see them as regular people. So when they destroyed the satellite dish at the end of the movie, all of these aliens that looked like fly people with ugly, nasty faces all got exposed. And they're essentially saying this in real life, that they just had an upgrade and now we can see aliens or UFOs. Sorry. They Live is, oh my gosh. This says it right here. Boom. So this is what they looked like once they broke the thing. And they were some of the funniest scenes too. It's got Roddy Rod Piper and then some other movie. It's a movie by John Carpenter. And man, it really does have so many different, oh my gosh. I mean, this is such a classic. This is a cult classic. Like, this guy's sitting here and it says, do not question authority, reward indifference, no thoughts, stay asleep, stay asleep. This is back in the 80s. Talking about stay asleep, watch TV, obey, conform, doubt humans, marry and reproduce. This was such a, I mean, this is, I'm surprised they have not remade this movie. This movie honestly was one of the most ahead of its times movie. Here's another scene from it. Reproduce, consume, conform, buy, obey, 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 watch television, stay asleep. There are honestly so many instances of this happening in real life, and we don't even realize it. The things that they design, and it's come down to generations. Even if you pick a career as somebody in stage design or this or that, you don't even realize it, but you're being taught to kind of further these things. When you go to be in a career in anything Hollywood oriented, the tips that come down from the very top, from the teachers at art school, from all these things, the people that really stick out are the ones who, freak accident succeed out of their own because they're different. But the ones that get passed down, they don't even realize it, but they're designing things in evil ways with things that, things that kind of, even some of the tips, like the symmetry of how they say to do certain stage setups and things like this, they all have symbolism in them. And I'm not trying to say that to be crazy. I'm saying it's been happening for, ever since we've had television, ever since we've had these things. So it's very just crazy what's going on right now. They just literally told us an upgrade to radar. Now we see UFOs. This is nuts. We are living in the craziest time ever. Man. First photo of suspected Haley Nazi killer who live streamed spree on Twitch. So this, by the way, there was several events that happened. It says a gunman who banged two people in Halle, Germany, broadcast the bang on the live streaming website Twitch, according to media reports. The banger reportedly used anti-Semitic statements and neo-Nazi slogans. I can't even say half of this. Identified as Stephen Ballier, the attacker appeared on a video stream recorded by a GoPro camera speaking English. He said feminism was responsible for Western countries' declining birth rates, which are then used as an excuse for mass immigration. He also accused JEWs of being the root of all problems. So this guy is apparently calling himself an Anon. So for you Q folks out there, this kind of crap, this is pretty... do you think he was an actual Anon, or do you think that this guy is, something weird? Ballier said he was a denier of the Holocaust. I mean, this stuff is just crazy. The disturbing 35-minute long video also shows him roaming the streets, seeking to break into a synagogue, bursting into a kebab shop while firing at people, as well as shooting in an unspecified direction. So this is the world that we're in right now, and there's more and more people. Where do you, just like this, just like they live, right? Just like this. How do you think that these people are getting activated? Something like this is going on right now. And I'll tell you what, it's most likely not on some of the YouTubers stuff that you see. Something is going on. There's something directing people to do this. Why are people doing this? Why are people, why do they say people are getting, I guess, radicalized? There's something really, really weird going on in the world. And I think people need to really open their minds and understand that there's something bigger going on. If not, there's actual operations going on under our feet at all times. It's quite scary. Time to deliver. Elon Musk, NASA, nervous as spaceship delays threaten to cut off astronauts from the ISS. Now it says, since the space shuttle program was scrapped in 2011, NASA has had no crewed spaceship capability, having to pay Roscosmos $80 million a seat to ferry astronauts to the ISS. SpaceX and Boeing were both contracted to develop a domestic alternative, but both the Crew Dragon and the Starliner have yet to go beyond the testing stage. This is a problem for the U.S. Space Agency, as the last contracted flight is scheduled for March 2020 launch and an October return after that. There is nothing, and it's making NASA nervous. It says, quote, full panic is how one reporter described the moon at the U.S. Space Agency, prompting Musk to respond on Twitter that the Crew Dragon should be deployed at Cape Canaveral and have, quote, all testing done in about 10 weeks. It says, we had to relocate some resources to speed this up. Musk added, going into a digression about new parachutes for the capsule before adding that all, quote, hardware is at the Cape. The launch would probably happen in late November or early December, he said. Musk's Cargo Dragon capsules have been resupplying the ISS since 2012, but making the leap to the Crew version has proven challenging. The Crew Dragon looked promising all the way up to April when it exploded during a test of the emergency response system's abort engines. So, you know what's even crazy is it says 2012 here. Dex, is it not weird that Elon Musk has, 2012 seems like it's a long time ago, right? Most of you are like, oh, that's not that long ago. But think about it. That's 7 years ago. It seems like time is just whizzing by. It just seems Elon Musk was actually resupplying the ISS in 2012. He's been doing this space stuff for a while now. Like, it just seems to me in my brain, it feels like it's only been a couple years that Elon Musk was this space guy rather than Tesla. When did the first Tesla come out? It's crazy how he went from Tesla to space.
Well, of course. But the other thing is, if you think about it, even though it does seem like time has flown by, if you look at the actual amount of time they've spent versus the time we've spent with federal funding doing the research and getting the rockets and things built, he seems to have accomplished in the private sector a lot more in a lot less time. Now, sure, technology's evolved quite a bit, and we have that on our side, or he has that on his side. But yeah, what they've done in a short amount of time is a lot more than we've done in a much longer amount of time at the federal level.
Well, just everything that's going on right now, it's insane, and it's just crazy how fast time goes. 2012 is it's like a flash, and now it's almost 2020. Something's going, I think 2020 is going to be a big year. Plus, the next cycle is coming up. We might have a different president, might not. They are preparing for something civil-wise. I think that they think that something's going to happen at this next vote. And I say that because of all the things they are preparing for. Now, it says, H. Williams commented and says, UN Army practicing drills in Big Bear, California. But UN not supposed to have an army. UN marked vehicles with armed soldiers blocked off Holcomb Valley. BB. Now, first off, if people don't believe that UN are not here, we've shown you video and pictures from different places in the United States where they have UN vehicles. So UN is, they're the United Nations. That's a big deal. Not only that, they just signed this new bill putting the Marines on basically standby. So there's a lot of weird stuff. Tony Higginson says, Adam, I'm dipping out, rough day getting ready for the big power outage. I'm in phase 2, should be out soon. Much love, my adopted son, night, my Foogle Fam. So Tony, you're actually a part of this. I'd love somehow after this is all done, let me know how it is. Find out how your neighbors took it, how things happened. Connie Easley says, remember the troops were training in the dark. Oh, very good point. So the folks that watch this show all the way through, it's not so much something to me, but I've covered a lot of news on this show, and we've covered a lot of topics. What she's talking about is the military was training in the dark. There's all this stuff going on across the country at every outlet of Marines and all different branches training with night vision goggles. First off, they spent millions and millions of dollars upgrading night vision. They were training military in tunnels with no light underground with night vision. So something is about to happen with everything that's going on in California. What if, oh my gosh, what if California was where they drilled to do these things? with no power, with no nothing, to see how it went. No ham radio repeaters up. How would they do it? I just really wonder. And now somebody just said, UN Army practicing drills in Big Bear, California. Is Big Bear, California on the water? I actually, that's just very strange. Are they preparing for a power outage bigger than California? So I just wanted to see the map here. Boom. So they're basically practicing out in the woods. Here's Big Bear Lake. That is very strange. So that's closer to San Bernardino. It's actually kind of between... It's a little bit north from Palm Springs and San Ternecula. What a weird name. Frank Loring, thank you for joining us on this show. Almost nearly 4,000 of you watching. Thank you guys for being here. Again, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Jamie Martini Franklin says, shattered leg, so I hope nothing happens for 3 months. God is in control. Thanks for everything you do, guys. Well, thank you. And thank Mary Therese Gorham and Frank Loring for joining Sector 16. Thank you for subscribing. As always, if you subscribe, you will get a shout out during the show. All right. And then with all these things that are going on, training in the dark, you've got them doing all these things with the grid. I would have to say, I'm going to talk. I definitely would like to almost exchange messages with Prepper Ilea. Knowing that she dealt with that power outage stuff, like, I guess she would be one of the folks that kind of, that says, you know, I'd rather be without power for 7 days than have to deal with a fire. That's if that is the official thing that is happening. All right, you guys. So we're going to get the phones open. If you guys want to support the channel and protect yourself against an EMP blast or a Carrington event, this would be the way to do it. We are working with a company that is directly helping our government, the DoD and the Homeland Security, fix the grid, or at least make it better. Last year, T-Man signed an order to harden the grid because it was found to be so vulnerable that the Homeland Security actually did a resilience report and told us as people that we need to be prepared for 6 months to a year without power. That's not because they think it might happen, or, you know, that it's a tiny percentage that it could happen. They really do truly believe that we are going to have some sort of event. So we should be prepared for that. Now, if you have an EMP shield, what it does is it grounds the signal faster than it can fry all of your devices. If you go to marfooglenews.com/EMP, you'll get more information. But again, you can get protection for your ham radio, your solar system, your RV, your generator. Again, even if the power never comes back on, if you have one on your generator, as much gas as you have, you will have power. Or a vehicle EMP protection device will save your vehicle. Your vehicle's not really going to be of much use after an EMP unless you have something like this to protect it. How are you going to get out to your bug out spot if you can't get out there? And then, of course, there's the home version as well. I really think the vehicle and all these, again, you can get $50 off of each device that you get from them if you go through our link. Now, again, it's they have partnered with Klarna. So we understand that not everybody has, you know, $300 to throw down on a big device, or $200, whichever device you choose. So they have actually teamed up with Klarna, and essentially this option will require no money up front and is interest free. They did this because of our audience, and that's pretty amazing. EMP Shield is made in the United States. It is 100% protection against lightning. They actually guarantee it. So again, even if you're in an area like Florida that has lightning, the lightning capital of the world, it's a whole lot cheaper than even a deductible on your house insurance if you get struck by lightning and it fries everything. This will protect you. It is the only military-grade EMP protection device. All right, and then, of course, just to say my normal things, the callers that call into the show, these are their opinions. They're not ours. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can be considerably different from mine, Dex's, yours. Doesn't matter who's on this show. These callers' opinions are their opinions. These are not scripted calls. They're not paid callers. These are you. You can call at 224-400-MARF, and you are able to say whatever you want within reason. But then again, we ask that you try to, miss those filter words. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. So if somebody says, well, I saw proof on YouTube that there are 44 aliens running Starbucks in Big Bear, California, you might want to confirm it. And of course, if you have not checked out the other channel, please do. It is halfway to 145,000 subscribers. Again, if you just subscribed over here, you might not know we have a shorter edited version of Marfoogle News over there. We take highlights from this channel. We also do emergency broadcasts over there. Make sure to subscribe to Marfoogle News. If you subscribe here, this is the sister channel to Marfoogle News. Over here, we just hit over 91,000. We have 8,900 to go to get to 100,000 on both channels. That's a huge deal. So I thank you guys, and I'm just so blessed to be sitting here with such amazing people surrounding me. And if you have not been a part of our Discord group, this is extremely important. When all of this goes down, you need to have a group of people around you. You need to at least have some people that, don't think you're crazy, that you can bounce ideas off of. This is a big deal. If something horrible happens to the entire country and everything hits the fan, you're going to want somebody knowing, that you exist. There's a lot of cases where you might not want to have people know, and then at the same time there is. Where I suggest it is if you live in a city, in an earthquake-prone state, make sure somebody knows you're there after an earthquake. And if you don't show up to the meeting site, they help or go look for you. And that's really where the only point where that comes in. Find your local state group, share and learn, prep and intel, hundreds of channels for everyone. And again, we have an exclusive military channel for former and current military. If you try false valor, and this has been since day one, you will not only be kicked out of Discord, you'll be kicked out of any group we have, including Twitter, Facebook, anything. We don't tolerate it. And most people know that. MarfoogleNews.com is how you sign up for Marfoogle Alerts. Marfoogle Alerts is a huge deal. If anything was to hit the fan in the future, if we get heads up from one of our 300 plus active and retired military folks in that military group I just told you about, we will let you know via Marfoogle Alerts. We also let you know about other events, other planned events that we do. If there's ever a Marfoogle convention, we will let you know through that system. Again, we will send the password to certain things. You can see the entire Earthing movie with Amy Smart, Muriel Hemingway, Deepak Chopra. You can see this entire thing. This just came out in theaters about a month ago to a red carpet release. You can see it just as part of our channel if you have that password with the alerts. You can go to marfooglenews.com/GT. Super easy. GT. And the reason why you might want to watch that is because if you do not understand what grounding is, earthing or grounding is nothing foo-foo. It's actually amazing. When you stand on bare ground, you are actually grounded. Just like if you plug in that third little, notch on your plug-in, that basically grounds it. So there's a ground that goes into the earth. We are electricity. Once you realize that our hearts are electric, our nervous system is electric, our brain is electric. When you are standing on the earth, basically it's a great thing. Any other time except for a thunderstorm, it's amazing what it does for your body. Everything starts lining up. Your blood starts flowing. Inflammation is reduced. Inflammation has been found, and this is backed up by 25 plus medical studies, that inflammation is the root cause of all of these other problems. Now, if none of us are getting younger, this is going to help you stay the best that you can be. And there's things like the bed mat. This is what I use. I don't have time other than the universal mat that I have here. The bed mat, I go to sleep on it. I don't have to think about it. I just lay down. I like it because it's cold on my skin. I actually go right on it. But people can even put it under the sheets. You don't even notice there. But you will notice the difference in your sleep. You'll notice the difference in your inflammation. If you have arthritis, highly recommend the universal pad. If you're at the computer all the time, put one right below there. Boom. Every sale of this and the EMP shield goes towards us building this news site. We've always been very honest and very transparent. This we believe in. And we haven't gone off to 40 different products because we have to find something we truly believe in, or we truly believe you will need. So for this helps us grow. We're trying to bring on 2 more people. People said, oh, you can be a solo person. They don't realize how much work everybody's putting in, including the mods. The mods are amazing. All of the mods are doing extra jobs here and there. We need more help. And people don't help forever because it's volunteer. So if you do want to help, please, feel free to get any of the products from them. It helps you and it helps us. So always good for everybody. And I appreciate it more than anything. Go to marfooglenews.com/earthing. If you want to look at the ground therapy products, you get free shipping with the code MH. So it's just 2 letters. M and H gets you free shipping. And of course, if you want to support a charity, you can get 100% of the proceeds are going towards a charity for the Mafia shirts. So again, you can look fly and help somebody. You've got the Mafia shirt, home of the Love Mob. You've got Love Mob shirt with back on the back says hashtag Foogle Fam. And then of course the Mafia. And then it says on the back, cut free, hashtag Foogle Fam. Spread the word and help somebody that's, in need. marfooglenews.com/t-shirts. Boom. Again, we're trying to turn mafia into a positive thing. It's the Mafia. Again, with the Mafia, just want to spit this out too. We didn't create that. In fact, the negative people did and called us the Mafia because all this stuff. But we are turning it into something positive. And I will say this. I believe, I'm going to help channels that are loyal to other channels. I'm going to help people that, I want to help as many people as possible. We all need to stick up for each other. And that includes not, stabbing back. And if they say fight fire with fire, but you can't fight fire with acid. Like, just don't do it. We can't be nasty and expect people to stop being nasty. You have to, at some point, somebody's got to be the bigger person and stop. And I get it. People get offended when people talk about this show because, honestly, we put a lot of time and effort into this and we have only helped people. No one can ever show an example of when we have put other people down on this show. It's pretty stupid. We have helped over 200 channels, and some of those channels, they end up turning against us for whatever reason. It's like you help them get their first 1,000 folks, and then they turn against you. And then after about 3 or 4 months, almost every single one of them comes back and says, oh, I never did that. They realize, what benefit is there to going against us for no reason? There's none. And it doesn't help you. If you're really trying to do YouTube, you should be in this community trying to network with people, not talking smack about them. Again, once you kind of turn, it's hard to come back. So let's see here. Check us out on Twitter. Of course, that is at Marfoogle if you want to get in on that. And we are going to be taking calls. All right, let's get the first caller in here. Let's see here. We've got Renegade Petey. I don't believe I've heard from him in a while. Let's see here. Renegade Petey, you are live on Marfoogle TV. What's going on?
What's going on, Marv?
Now, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, we're good. So, Renegade Petey, now it says that you're calling. This is your first time calling?
My first time. Yep.
Wow. I guess I've seen your name around for so long. I'm surprised we've never talked. So are you the one who said that the ham radio repeaters in Northern California were down?
Yeah, there's a couple that seem. So if you go to, I sent a link to Dex, carloradio.net.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've got it. So if you look on, and I'm actually outside in the car freezing my ass off because my kids are inside sleeping, so I don't have it in front of me. So I'm going off memory. But if you look towards the left side of that screen, you'll see a series of lights, numbers with cities on them, and then you'll see a series of lights. Those lights that are blinking near the bottom, those show the repeater statuses, right? The blinking ones are offline. And I think there was 5 of them last time I checked. Now, 2 of them...
Whoa. Wait. You said 5?
5 of them should be blinking red.
There's
more than 5?
There's at least 6. Possibly 7.
Right, well, then another one.
Huh. And the Oregon Connection website is down.
Yeah, so the ones that are blinking, those are the ones that are offline. So 2 of those, I think 25 and 28, I think they should be Redding and Shasta. Those have been down since the fire. So I don't know if those are permanently down or what's going on with those. But the other ones, they just popped up today as the power started. This morning was when I checked, and I noticed that 3 of those were blinking. So the way that works, that system, so the way that the repeaters work, right? You had that little graphic up earlier. I saw that where it had the radio, then it had the hill, then it had on the other side there was another guy with a radio. So that's how they communicate through that repeater system, and you can link repeaters together into a group. Like where I am in Monterey, we've got a group called the Salinas Valley Repeater Group, SVRG. So that's a series of repeaters specific to our area, which we've been informed that our one on Empire Grade, they were supposed to lose their power today around 12 o'clock. They're up in Santa Cruz. And that's like a major deal for us here. But they're on a battery backup, so they've got 100 hours of battery backup. But if this shit show continues for any extended amount of time, we're going to lose that one too, right? But that network that I'm showing you there, that's a Carla network, and there's another one that we use, it's called WINS. It's the Western Intertide Networks service or network system, and those systems go all up and down California, and the WINS system actually goes. I've talked to people in Hawaii, San Antonio, Reno, and those repeaters are all tied in together to form like a larger network. So that's how that works. That's how people will communicate like across vast distances, right, through those repeater systems.
Well, this is, I guess, so this would be extremely important. If more of these end up going down, that would be a very bad thing for all of us, right? I mean, if any kind of bad disaster happens, we kind of depend on the good folks operating ham radios to communicate.
Right. That's how a lot of information gets passed on that way. Yeah.
Well, this is no good.
You know, those go down, the cell phones go down, then you know, we ain't communicate with anybody.
Wow. It says disciple of Christ says T-Man being impeached, cut power to start a civil conflict. T-Man calls for martial law. and remains president. Makes perfect sense to me. Well, also, what if you cut all ham radio communications? There would be one thing, and this isn't what's happening, but obviously something's going on with this, and they're turning off the power. Have you ever, what do you think of this power thing? Is this not one of the weirdest things you've ever seen?
Well, here's the thing. So I monitor like, they have those disaster apps, and FEMA has one, and I watched that one. So in the build up to this, FEMA was putting out alerts through the National Weather Service that there was high winds expected, but it was specific to Northern California, right? And all right, so you would think, okay, specific to Northern California, maybe they shut off power, a little bit of power here and there, because any fire that sparks up, PG&E is going to get sued, right? So if you're running that business, that's your logical thing is going to be, hey, we're tired of getting sued. We're going to just shut the power off. So I think the state of California has kind of put PG&E into that position to have to do that. But what was
it should be crazy. It's crazy that power is run by a private business. That's nuts. Power is a necessity for us now.
Right. Well, that too. But going back to my point of watching these alerts that were coming out for FEMA, what got me kind of weirded out about the whole thing is that there were no FEMA or National Weather Service alerts for the rest of California. They were specific to Northern California, but now they're phasing power out throughout the whole state, like in phases. Yeah, it's a complete shit show. I don't know what the hell's going on, but it's not normal, not at all.
I don't understand. And why is it a phase? How is it? That means somewhere else where it's humidity or where it's still humid, there's still going to be fires. It just doesn't seem.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. I agree with that.
And not all the power is what caused the fire in the first place. Don't people realize that? Paradise wasn't. They don't say that was caused by power transformers, or are they now admitting that was caused by a power transformer?
I don't know, but I remember when that fire first broke out, they called it the campfire. Because why? Supposedly it was started by a campfire. Hello. That's what they were calling it when it first came out. I specifically remember hearing that on the radio. So I don't know. I don't know if because the state has mismanaged, clearing vegetation and mismanaged the forest and all this stuff, and letting it got it completely out of control to where it's just a tinder box, to where you get one little spark, the whole thing goes up in flames, and it's all out of mismanagement. Whether it's the federal government on their federal lands or whether it's the state government or a combination of the two, but PG&E seems to be the scapegoat for them.
And that's what I don't understand. So it should be a government. At the same time, you don't want it to be a government branch, but think about it. Power is a necessity for us. We can't live without it. If we don't have power, they say 90% of us would perish because everything is dependent on power. Therefore, so if a fire happens because of the power, because of natural, nature, right? This transformer blew up, it caused a fire, people died, and then of course those people sued the power company and said, this blew up. Then they get to sue this power company when I don't even understand why this is the case. Power should be directly, that should be part of the infrastructure. How would you even... It's almost like as human beings, we should almost be like, well, this is a necessity. I think the whole thing's crazy. We pay for power because it's a service, right? But that should almost be something that, I know this sounds crazy, but should be included as a human being. Like maybe we should pay to be a human being.
Like the roads, maybe, that kind of system. Right?
Yeah, like you pay taxes for it instead of paying.
Or we pay our taxes.
But I guess then
they provide the power type deal.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
It shouldn't be privately owned. And people shouldn't be sued. They have to provide power. They can't. That's the thing. They can't not provide power. So how are you going to sue them because something blew up? If that's the technology we're at right now, they can't control the weather. And if something blows up, that's our current technology. And I get it. People sue. They're like, that caused the death of this, whatever. But they have to have the thing there. And if we don't have a better technology than regular transformers, then how are they even going to sue them? There's so many things that are odd with this. But I guess, and if you guys disagree with me, I honestly, sometimes I say some stuff that's just stupid. But I just think it's weird in my head that they're turning it off in phases on purpose. You know, maybe I need to talk with some people that understand it.
Well, the whole thing is weird. I mean, if you look, I try to keep my mind from wandering to places it shouldn't go. But if you look at the stuff that's been going on, like especially the past 3 weeks with, that show you guys did on that whole the smallpox thing getting out, right, with the virus and all that stuff. You guys did that show, and then there was this order that was not an order. It was an advisory thing that came out on how to activate reservists to help with civilian authorities. You have that. Then you've got these stories floating around about the UN, and then you've got this thing with the power. It's like the timing of all this. It's really hard to keep my mind from wandering into those places where you start thinking, is this all being done intentionally? What the hell's really going on here, right? And in the meantime, what have they got us focused on? This impeachment circus show that's going on. It's a complete circus show, and that's what everybody's focused on. So I don't know. This whole series of events that's been going on.
And this is a bankrupt company, and apparently Rothschild, one of the Rothschilds' vice chairman resigns from PG&E. I did not. This was something that the chat just brought up, and I did not know. So the Rothschilds are involved in this PG&E bankrupt company, and they're saying it's over fires.
I've heard that too. There was also a story that I just seen. It was a blurb on Facebook that they're paying like billions of dollars in bonuses to their executives. I don't know if somebody can find that, but it was just something I saw. I don't know, maybe within the past 2 hours, posted on Facebook somewhere. So I don't know. I mean, ultimately, it all comes down to the money, right?
Somebody says, pull your head out. They take your taxes and then charge you dearly for the electricity. Well, don't get in arguments, guys. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. And then somebody says, trigger words, buffering. Rothschild, Kimmy says Rothschilds own all, well, yeah, that name. They own all utilities in U.S. Rothschilds owns PG&E. There's just so much crazy. They own everything. Actually, somebody just said that. Lanavika Dorothea says they own everything. Yes, them and a few other families. And now I am going to die a mysterious death. All right. Well, thank you for calling in, Renegade PD. I'm surprised I haven't talked to you before. Please call in again. You're a very smart man, and I appreciate your call tonight, and especially since you are knowledgeable about the ham radio operating situation. Would love to hear from you again, okay?
All right, Adam.
You have a great night. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. Thank you. Anthony Liberte says the cost of the 2008 criminal bank bailout that destroyed the housing market could have put a solar panel on every roof in the nation. Time to evolve. Did you guys hear that? That's a very, very awesome statement. The cost of the 2008 criminal bank rollout that destroyed the housing market could have put a solar panel on every roof in the nation. All right, we've got Hunky Dory. You are live on Marfoogle TV. What's going on?
Hey, Mark, Dex, Foogle Fam, first-time listener, long-time caller. How is everyone doing tonight?
First-time listener, long-time caller. I like it.
Hey, well, anyways, just to start it off, I work for PG&E. I am part of the Wildfire Community Outreach Program, and I'm kind of hoping to be able to take this time to answer any unanswered questions regarding our public safety power shutoff for California.
Okay, so we have a PG&E employee on the phone right now. Don't shoot at him, okay?
You saw.
All right, so what is your position there? Or can you say?
Not necessarily, because it'd be pretty easy to figure out who I am. But however, being part of the Wildfire Safety Community Outreach Program, basically we are here to ensure that during high fire threats to California, especially the northern regions from Siskiyou County all the way down to Bakersfield, that under current circumstances of our history of bad, big wildfires, that we essentially shut power off to protect our customers and people who are within the state of California, within those regions, to make sure everyone is safe.
Now, can I ask you, are you a normal watcher of the show, or did somebody at PG&E say, hey, can you call into this show?
No, actually, I've been with you guys since April 2018.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for having or coming on the show. So let me ask you this. So you, as somebody who works there, you believe this is completely normal, and you kind of, knowing what you know, you say we shouldn't be worried.
Well, never said you shouldn't be worried. Never said you wouldn't. It's not normal necessarily. However, I would definitely say that the extent of the drought from the last couple of years in California, along with a higher population within California, we actually have a higher risk of having a very potential catastrophic wildfire within California. One of the things that we want to look at is, if you look at back in 2018 when we had the Camp Fire incident, and even further back, 2017, the Tubbs Fire, whatnot, basically California has turned into a complete tinderbox. And one of the best examples that I can give everyone is, if you've ever looked on YouTube, online, and you look at an old Christmas tree that is basically run out of water, and the fire department turns around and puts a match to it, the thing basically lights off like gasoline to a fire and burns. And that is the current state of affairs that California is in, due to drought conditions and other underlying factors. And so one of our stances that we are currently sitting in is, how do we prevent that spark that is going to potentially add to that potential for a wildfire to start?
Now, one question for you. So this is all over a potential spark. Have they kind of weighed, what could happen? How are they handling? One thought I had is, how are they going to stop people from looting if everybody's included, right? They're not leaving the power on at the grocery store, are they? Or are they shutting down everybody?
So that's a good question. So anytime it comes down to shutting power off, whether it be for a city or for a county, everything is broken down into line segments. So we can essentially shut out distribution lines that go to outlying portions of the county and continue to have power within the city, right? Because you got to look at it to where you have a certain line that breaks off into multiple fingers. You can shut power off on certain fingers, but yet keep power on the main line. Now, to answer your question about looting, this is something that for the last 2 years, PG&E has been working directly with local law enforcement, whether it be local police departments, sheriff's departments, if we want to talk about CAL FIRE, Forest Service, California Office of Emergency Services that works directly underneath the governor. All these things have been outlined and been noted to where when we get ready for one of these power shutoffs, everyone has been notified prior. Staffing has been upgraded so that everyone basically gets called onto overtime to make sure that the community is taken care of, and to make sure that everyone is staffed, whether it be for fire department, local EMS, same thing with law enforcement. So during this very short time that the power is actually shut off, basically all avenues of emergency services are covered.
Now, a short time, but they do say, or is this incorrect, 7 days in some areas. Is that true?
Yes, that is true. So when they say that it could take up to 7 days basically to restore power, a couple of factors that we have to look at is that, so if we look at the Bay Area, North Bay, all that good stuff, so all those power lines, distribution, transmission, that's all pretty close together. So when there is a shutoff, basically when we get ready to energize those lines, individuals have to go out and put their eyes on each individual line before the power is able to be restored. We want to make sure that there's no trees, there's no branches, nothing that could be on those lines. So when they are energized, they become a conductive factor basically to start a wildfire. Now, if we want to look at long-term restoration, we look at the power lines, let's say distribution that run into the Northern Sierras, Siskiyou, Redding, those areas. Basically, we're looking at hundreds of miles of distribution lines. That's a lot of man hours, a lot of people that actually have to be boots on the ground to make sure that nothing is on those lines before that power is restored. Recently, we basically put out there that we have over 6,300 employees, whether that be mixed contractors, so on and so forth, basically on standby. This includes helicopters, air operations, vehicles on the ground, people on the ground, to ensure when on those further regions we get ready to restore power, we have plenty of people to be there to make sure it's safe to restore power. So that 7-day, up to 8, 5 days, 3 days, whatever it is, when we look at those further areas, yes, it takes a while because we look at easements on people's personal properties. A lot of individuals don't like PG&E being on their property to make sure that those power lines are safe. Those are just some of the things that we run into, just to make sure that we can re-energize as soon as we can.
Now, okay, so a few questions here. Now, somebody made a comment. They said, did you guys have more than 2 days notice? I mean, could you have technically given 5 days notice or a week notice, or did you guys is this like a all of a sudden decision?
So when this whole public safety power shutoff began, if we look back in 2018 and prior to that, Santa Clara Valley Power, along with San Diego, SDG&E, they've been doing these public safety power shutoffs for the LA County, San Diego County for many a time now, basically shutting off power at the highest fire threat when there's potential for trees basically to land on lines. 2018, early 2018 is basically the time where we said, hey, obviously some of the things that we have set in place is not working, so we need to move forward and we need to change something. So we essentially turned around and said, hey, this is something that we're going to start from this point on. So moving forward, we've worked with California, Office of Emergency Services under the governor, again, local sheriff's department, PD, local county fire districts, special fire districts, city fire districts, all that good stuff. And we basically said, coming up into the next fire season, this is something that we could potentially face. During that time, we've also reached out to every PG&E customer that is basically purchasing power from our utility district and said this is something that could happen. And up to this event recently, we've been notifying prior within 48 hours, if not a little bit more, that, hey, the fire weather's picking up. We're looking at warnings showing that fire danger is increasing, relative humidity is dropping, winds are increasing, all that good stuff, which could lead to a potential public safety power shutoff. 24 hours on the dot prior to that shutoff. And go ahead if I'm
No. This is fascinating. But I mean, you do understand that somebody going without power for 7 days, people, are you guys afraid of what might happen this is the first time you've done this, correct?
No, this is actually probably the 4th or 5th power shutoff we've actually had within 2 years. And yes, we're scared just as much as everyone, because people got to remember, us as PG&E employees, we are community members. Our families, our grandmothers, our aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, our children are directly affected based on the decisions that we make. And this is definitely a concern because my wife works for a school district and she has to travel the roads with dysfunctional traffic lights on her way to work because the power's been shut off. I mean, this isn't, yes, it's national news, but this is definitely hitting us within our community. and we understand that. I mean, we live it, same as everyone else.
Now, on one other note, now, since you are somebody who, it sounds like you are, I mean, you could be their public relations manager. Let me just ask you this. Do we, as a country, do we have some worries about our power grid? I mean, obviously, T-Man just signed that new bill. Did you guys kind of get a big portion of that? Do they come down on you and say, hey, you've got to fix your grid? Is this in any way related?
When it comes to stuff particular to that, I can't necessarily speak directly to it. However, I can speak to the fact that we have been going through and replacing our wood poles with metal poles, any uncoated distribution lines, 2-phase overhead, 3-phase overheads, all that good stuff. We're working on making those fully coated. Cyber attacks is one of the biggest fears that we actually have, whether it be through malware or any other means. So it's definitely something that we spearheaded, especially since we actually had our transformers shot up by a militarized group that is still to this day unknown and unnamed. So it's a huge concern, and it's something that whether it comes from basically our NERC and our FERC regulations, whether it comes from the California Power Utility Public Commission, all that good stuff. I mean, this is something that we're definitely trying to beef up the power grid, make sure that it's safe, so that, again, us who work for PG&E also live within the community, can provide for our families.
Wow, this is incredible. I'm so glad. I mean, we had no idea. So we have this incredible... this is like a story that you know everything about. Can I ask you just one more? Another question is, do you worry about our entire grid failing? Is that something just you as an employee? Do you worry about that? Not anything, about clearance or anything that you should know. Are you personally worried that at some point our entire grid might go down?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Along with anyone in the tech field, basically everything is absolutely vulnerable. If we look at the power grid systems that operated back in the 1980s versus now, back in the 1980s, everything was basically walked up to a switch and you turned power on versus turned it off. Versus now, everything is through Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all that fun stuff. It's more advanced than my knowledge in the field. But it's one of the things that we constantly get alerted about, is that something as simple as, and this happened a couple of years ago, I want to say back in 2016, I could be mistaken, but I think it was back in 2016, something as simple as opening up an email actually wiped out the power grid system. I think it was over towards the East Coast that wiped out hundreds of thousands of customers. So it's something that we definitely beef up our security, our cybersecurity, and just hoping and praying that no one clicks the wrong button when it comes to opening up emails or whatever the case may be. But the threat is definitely there. And our own government has been warning us in the last 3 or 4 years, if not even further than that, hey, there's definitely vulnerability. I mean, it's something man-made. Just like they say, anything that has batteries, it's going to fail eventually, right? Same thing with our power grid. Everything's man-made. Someone's going to find a weak point within the backbone, and they're going to strike that. And I can't stress enough that people just need to be prepared. And I think this power outage is a very good warning for that.
Okay, so one thing that I'm seeing is pretty common. So, one question real quick. Is PG&E going to reimburse us for food that goes bad? That's what David Drake IV said. I'm assuming that's a big no.
Yeah, you know what? That's a really good question. So I know last year, again, being a customer of PG&E, whether I be working for them or not, but I still purchase power at the same rate every other person does. That was one of the things that was brought up is, hey, my food spoiled over a 3-day period. Am I getting reimbursed? I really can't answer that. However, the rumor was not necessarily, because they gave within a 24-hour notice saying, hey, you need to get generators, whatever the case may be, to make sure that nothing goes bad. But again, I'm not an official spokesperson for PG&E. A lot of rules and regulations have changed since then. So there very well may be some, let's say, insurances or liabilities that are provided back to the customer to assist them during that time.
Yeah. Michelle Sood says, dude sounds like legal department. You actually do. You sound very, I mean, you sound very well knowledgeable about and you are very, it's not like you are slipping on anything. So, and by the way, and this is somebody who's been watching my show for a while. So, by the way, I did ask you, we did talk about Paradise. You said that it originally started out, they said it was a campfire, but apparently.
No, the name of the incident was the campfire. So, there's been multiple incidents. You got to remember when you have like Paradise and all those other incidents that happen, basically they name that incident after either the cross section or the cross street of where that incident essentially started. So the Paradise Fire, right, was started over in Poe Creek, near the Poe Creek campgrounds. Transmission lines were found in that area where the fire originated, and they did find that those transmission lines, those overhead phases, were essentially damaged or riddled with bullet holes. Simultaneously, within 5 minutes of that initial fire start, 5 miles down the road, there was a secondary spot that also occurred and basically assisted in the growth of the Paradise Fire. We want to talk about me sounding like I'm an official spokesperson. I'll put it this way. Many years in the fire service has taught me to be very careful what I say.
Well, okay. Somebody said, why is PG&E headquarters blocked off? Are they afraid of people revolting? I would probably say yes, right? I mean, if people are shooting at the trucks.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is not very uncommon for the main headquarters down in San Francisco, basically to go on lockdown. We had the Orville site. It was like a MNC center, something like that. Basically, it was egged. However, the employees that worked there, again, local community members, felt threatened, so they locked that place down. The employees went home. During this time, I would say shortly after, whether it be an hour, 2 hours, whatever it may be, we got a report of a PG&E employee who actually said their windshield blew out. They heard a loud pop. CHP, California Highway Patrol, started investigating it and provided a photo online and showed what looks to be a .45 caliber bullet that actually went. If anyone on here listening knows anything about fire department, you have your A and B pillar side on the door. That's where the bullet actually went through, missed the driver. So that obviously prompted PG&E as a whole to go onto a security lockdown to ensure the safety of its employees.
Wow. It seems like, and by the way, somebody said, it doesn't matter how many minutes. This is like this is like an exclusive right here, man. You know, of course we're getting the comments that it sounds rehearsed and all this and that. Do you ever, I honestly, I'm like, wow, you know everything about this. And it was kind of convenient you called in. Let me ask you this. Do you believe in DEW weapons?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually had an employee who worked for the U.S. Navy whose spouse at that time, whatever year that was, actually helped work on developing some of those weapons, and which I didn't believe it at the time, honestly. But when she was starting to divulge some of this information, I was like, okay, it makes sense, because you look on eBay, YouTube, you can see these lasers that are for sale. Basically, through light and energy, create a certain amount of heat that can actually cause fire. And as we know, people can purchase online lasers that can cut metal, that can cut wood, plastics, in any shape or design. So what says that the government isn't going to turn around, create that same thing, or hasn't already, to use as a weapon, right? It's a little bit cheaper to pay for energy versus expelling lead downrange.
Well, and another question is, somebody in California says there's no wind. So what's up with that?
Yeah. So again, that's actually a very good question. So, so what we're looking at essentially is a northeasterly wind that's coming up, or coming down, I should say, from the Nevada, Reno area, that's bringing hot, drier winds and brings it all the way down to Southern California. As we all know within the emergency services, this is typically around this time of year we get these types of winds that are hot and drying, and we can get up to 50 to 75 to 80 mile an hour gust winds. It's not sustained at 55 mile an hour, again, at the higher elevations. A lot of people who are reporting that there is no wind are at lower elevations, whether they be in valleys or what we call saddles, within topography of California. You may not feel it down there, but the wind is up on higher elevations. Now, the reason these public safety power shutoffs occur currently is because that distribution or transmission line that feeds within the city, right, or within that community, you may not feel wind down there, but as you follow those lines where they're basically fed from the nearest power station or substation, end up at higher elevations, and it's the higher elevations that are the biggest concern. That's where the wind's going to be felt, where you have the potential for trees to fall down, land over those lines, start a fire with those high winds, and that wind just carries that fire all the way into the community, and we have another Paradise or Tubbs fire or any other type of incident that we've talked about in the past.
So I'm actually kind of confused why so many people says are so unwilling to listen. Everybody's saying, "Oh, this is fake," and this and that. Okay, first off, there's no way you know this much, and whatever it may be, maybe you are, you've drank your work's Kool-Aid. I don't know. I'm not saying you don't, but I'm at least giving you a chance to talk, because this is something, this sounds like, this sounds like a direct quote. You're talking about because I've read over this over the past 8 hours, and you're quoting stuff like you know it from the back of your the back of your hand. And I get it. You said you spent a lot of years in this business, so you're careful about what you say and this and that. But you have to understand, people are going to think this is the, I guess, public relations office calling into Marfoogle News to smooth it over. It's kind of crazy. I mean, you know everything about this. So no, I want to thank you for calling in. I wanted to ask you a couple off kilter questions.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I'll put it this way. So I'm just a normal guy who lives in the high fire threat areas that, anyone else does here in Northern California. And anyone who wants to reach out to me, I'm on Discord. I can give them a personal call. Shoot, I'll meet them face to face. We'll have lunch, coffee, whatever it is. And I can pretty much answer any questions that they would like. Again, it definitely sounds scripted. But again, I want to try to stick to as many facts as I can without turning around and just interjecting my own opinion, because my own opinion doesn't necessarily have facts to back it up. Again, my background.
Are you afraid of stating your own opinion?
No. I mean, I will, but again, my opinion can definitely be swayed by stuff I read online versus what I witnessed, in the field. It's just, I would rather not put doubt in individuals' minds based on stuff I can't necessarily prove. You know what I mean?
Like?
Well, people want to turn around and say, let's say Pg&E is part of this big conspiracy or whatnot. And shoot, I don't know. I mean, I'm just boots on the ground. I'm just a everyday Joe Smuckatelli like anyone else. I'm here. I joined Pg&E basically to make a difference because I live in one of these high fire threat areas. If anyone wants to make a difference in what's going on, I mean, it's like, hey, either you join them and figure out what's going on and do what you can to make a change, or you can just sit on the sidelines. It's easy to speculate, but actually once you get out there and see actually how, once you see actually how, go ahead.
Did the Rothschilds own PG&E, or is that a rumor?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. That was something that I've always wondered about. I mean, I don't doubt it necessarily. I mean, PG&E is probably one of the largest power utility companies in the U.S. I mean, why wouldn't they have some form of, financial, anything within that? They very well could be. I can't say yes or no.
Well, hey, I just want to thank you for calling in. It looks like we got some insight, at least from a legit PG&E employee. I appreciate you. And again, in the end of the day, you've been watching my show for a long time, so I thank you. I don't want to offend you. I'm just trying to state what the chat says, and you have to understand. It sounds like you are. I mean, in fact, you sound like a CEO of a company. The very, very good question. Good question. That's it's been like you've had 1,000 of these questions asked by reporters, by this, by that. So you sound like you're just not your average PG&E worker. But
absolutely. Well, that's what's called. You talk about PIOs, right? Public information officers. That's what we're trying to say. Basically, not to incriminate ourselves necessarily, but get the information, get the facts. Only the facts.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for calling in and giving your kind of inside knowledge on it. And I appreciate your call, and I appreciate you watching my show. And I hope you can call in again. If you see something power related on future shows, please call in and let us know, debunk or this or that if you can. Honestly, it's just everybody's view. People that are like, don't listen, blah, 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 blah. It's like you can at least listen. And that's why we say, take everything with a grain of salt. We don't know. Who knows? You could be a Rothschild. I'm just kidding.
Oh, right.
So
look at my house. You'll see that's the opposite. But I'll finish it with this, and I really do appreciate your time. Again, hit me up on Discord. If you want to face-to-face, meet me, see my house, see what I own. I'm more than happy to, sit down and chit-chat and, give you any information that you would like.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Hunky Dory, first-time caller, calling out of California, PG&E employee providing update on power outages. You have a wonderful night, and God bless, all right?
All right, thank you, Mark. You
all
guys
right.
as well.
All right, bye-bye. I have to admit, I agreed with most of the chat there. that was like, had an answer for everything. That's crazy. All right, so we've got, and let's see here. We've got Burn Time, first-time caller, update on winds and power in North Cali, calling from Northern California. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Adam?
Good. So you're in Northern California. Do you have power?
As of right now, yes. And I just listened to your last caller, which was pretty funny because you had asked him directly, did we get a 24-hour notice? Okay, I've lived in California 52 years. Where I live, the San Francisco Bay drains through the Carquinez Straits, so I'm right on the edge of big water. Our side, we still have power. The opposite side, which would be Benicia, Vallejo, Fairfield by midnight had no power. Some of us did not even get 6 hours notice, let alone 24. You talked about, you had asked him directly, had this happened and stuff. No. In the middle of the worst drought, when our forests were burning, after that, they never cut the power. They never have done anything like this. And when they came on the news, what they said was they were doing it because of high winds. We're right by big open water. The trees haven't moved all day. There has not been any big winds. And, we also have a place that's up by Yosemite. So, this is what's happened between here and Yosemite. They've never done this. Even when the fire, over 80,000 acres burned up there in the Butte fires. After that, the pine trees are dead from the bugs and the drought. They've never shut down the power, and it's windy up there. So when all this happened and it broke on the news, it really just didn't make sense because there was no severe weather, and there still has not been severe weather. And just the way they kind of brought it out, it's due to severe weather and fire hazards. When you're talking about towns like Walnut Creek, Concord, they don't have trees in them. They're all cement. So of course I wanted to reach out to you guys because you guys know more and tell the truth about anything you might know outside of the call you just took, because it sounded very much like what you said, an attorney answer.
I mean, that literally, and no offense to the caller, see the part where I'm stuck here is he said he's been watching for over a year or whatever. He's a big fan. I mean, it sounds like he was drinking his works Kool-Aid. He absolutely but
was.
He was trained well. Like, he's a good employee. If anything, if he's a normal employee, he has not only read the book, knows the book, and like he said, he's like, my opinion might be different, but that's based on something I might know from the internet or this or that. I mean, he said everything right, and he says that he's an addict.
Exactly.
And then says that, I'll talk to any. It sounds like a professional. And by the way, that's a compliment too. If you're a professional in that league, you know how to take any question, say good question, and and be able to answer it just one by one by one. I think this is a big deal for them. And somehow, and by the way, we have over 4,000 people watching on YouTube. When people look up live things, we show up near the top because there's very few channels like this that have that many people watching live. So I always wonder.
And nobody wants to tell the truth,
Well,
and
but
this goes beyond just art.
He called in for one thing. Maybe he just called in to say one thing he knew, and then we asked him questions, and he's not going to lose his job. And then maybe he, went into scripted mode or whatever. Maybe I asked him questions he can't. Maybe he knows that his position there would easily be known, and the way he talks, everything.
Definitely.
Yeah. So maybe he did that on purpose, but can't say otherwise.
But for years, my husband cut the trees out of the high power lines. So we've seen, and so did all of our friends. That's how we all met, 25 years ago. They've all been doing this, cutting the trees out of the high power lines to prevent these fires. But, it just is really odd that when we were at the worst of the drought and we had forest fires all around Yosemite, Stanislaus Forest, over 80,000 acres burned. Since then, never have they done something like this. And I mean, this affects the Caldecott Tunnel. I've been inside where their exhaust pumps are. It's huge. And they said they're getting generators together to, keep the one side open, because that's how people get from Walnut Creek into Oakland. And, so this is a really, really big thing. And by no means did they give 24-hour notice. Like I said, there's a lot of people that didn't even get 6 hours notice. And the whole premise that they put it out, that the severe wind and all that, none of that happened. I mean, trees did not move today. The oddest thing is right along the water, because we're right at the water, they have not a person train, but the working trains. I don't know if I could say their name. Today was the first day, like ever, that we didn't hear those trains starting at 3 a.m. I mean, they make so much noise. They worked maybe an hour today. That's it. And I mean, that in itself is completely not normal. You know what I mean? So, I don't believe for 1 minute that this was done for weather or to prevent forest fires or any of that they have told us. But they didn't tell us 24 hours ahead. They told us 6 o'clock at night, and it started at midnight. So, just wanted to put that out there and see if maybe we could get some truth from somebody else outside of our state.
Well, actually, one thing I forgot to ask him is, are you personally going to lose power at your house? I should ask that.
I was thinking that too, because I was thinking he must not live here. He must not live in this area. I've lived here my whole life. And
he said 4 times, but he then answered stuff, and I said, on this scale,
there was numerous questions.
I don't know.
He went around the question. But this scale, this has never happened. Never.
That's right.
And just the fact that a lot of the cities that they're shutting down, I mean, they're all streets. They don't have trees. And they most definitely don't have a fire hazard, So, yeah, something's just really weird. And if you go back to your June show, you were already talking about this. You were talking about it before then. But the actual outages, if you go back to your June show, started showing up closer to the East Coast, but it's kind of moved over. But all the way
planned
back in
power
June,
outages. We talked about this 5 months ago.
Oh yeah. I've been watching. I don't watch any news but yours because you can't trust anybody. I just don't trust the news because of things just like this. That they come out and say, oh, this major thing's going to happen, fill your bathtubs with water. It's like, are you kidding me? If I didn't watch your show, I wouldn't have a generator. I wouldn't have backup water, So, yeah, when people are talking about it, I'm right in the middle of it. And if anybody should be getting wind, we're right here by the big water. The trees haven't moved all day. So it's definitely not severe gusts of wind. And every time you talk to them, it started out with 20 to 30 mile hour winds with possible gusts to 35 to 45 miles an hour. Then that went up. The trees haven't moved all day, so it's just it's very bizarre that this is happening on such a large scale.
I appreciate you. Somebody said we're offline. I appreciate you giving us your firsthand knowledge of this, and that that
absolutely.
Obviously, you didn't get 24 hours notice, so that's kind of
Not
a correction. Well, thank you so much. Burn Time, first-time caller out of Northern California. Much love to you, and I'm praying that you're okay through the power outage that you're going to get. So, thank you.
Oh, definitely. And thank you for everything you do. Just keep doing what you're doing. And somebody once said, if you got 20 haters this week, you're doing your job right. And if you're doing your job right, you should have 30 next week. So always remember that. More haters you do, the better you know you're doing your job.
Well, thank you so much. You have a great night. It is kind of crazy. I mean, like, we hit there's a couple subjects that we hit that I like instantly, the haters went way up. It's like they were waiting for something like that to happen. Up next, we have Awake 2. Super crazy. Awake 2, Sister and Callie, and no warning and no notice. Maybe some activity in Illinois. So what's going on, Awake 2? First time caller out of Illinois.
Well, on Discord earlier today, I was hearing a lot of other people on Discord from the Illinois group saying that they were having UN trucks and helicopters and stuff go through there, and that they were mostly heading out west, but some of them were like surrounding, certain areas there. And I didn't know exactly what that was about because I just kind of caught the end of what was going on Discord. But I have a sister who lives in Arcata, California, and she told me, well, her family, she lives in Arcata, but they also have a family home in Willow Creek. And I think that's the one that's in Humboldt County. And she said that the power was out in Humboldt County and that they didn't get any warning out there. And I mean, most of what I had heard on TV had said Southern California, and that's Northern California.
Well, I believe from what we heard, the official thing, what I thought was Northern California as well, but maybe I'm backwards. But again, as far as the UN vehicles, I heard about Illinois. What's funny is I found this looks like a Facebook post saying UN vehicles, mysterious troop movement spotted in VA, NC, West VA, and Ohio. This is back from July. I remember when that kind of happened. Now, not only Illinois, in fact, I didn't hear about Illinois. I heard about California, Pennsylvania, Michigan. I never heard about Illinois, though, and Kentucky. Kentucky is having UN vehicles in the country. Why are they? And then so many people have been talking about there's different videos. In fact, Dave Hodges just said that they had absolute information that there's UN vehicles on our ground. That's not something that's spooky. That's not something we want to see.
Yeah, that's very spooky.
That's the United Nations. Why?
Yeah, they don't belong in America. And the one thing I saw a lot of people saying, well, you can't have, it's not safe to have generators. There is at least one of the prepper places that you can contact that have solar generators that will run your refrigerator for several hours on one charge. And my husband just passed away the 20th of September, so I was in that way. I ended up getting a insurance check, and I'm going to invest in a solar generator because I feel like you can't run the gas ones or anything like that. And we've had power outages anyway because of our winters. And I've been told this is going to be a really bad winter. So I don't know. I'm just letting people know, check into solar generators because you can have them in your home and have there's no gas, there's nothing but solar power. So if something like this happens in your area, you'll at least have something to keep your meat from going bad and stuff like that.
Well, I just want to say, beside the call, I want to just say I'm so sorry to hear about your husband, and I really can't say I know that there's been some people that are close to the channel that have lost folks as well, and it's always hard. So I just want to say you sound like a very strong woman. That's only a few days ago,
right.
And
he's been ill for quite a while, and in a way it was almost a relief, and that sounds horrible, but he would not have been strong enough to put up with what we're getting ready to face. He had dementia, and he was physically disabled also, and he wouldn't have been strong enough to evacuate or anything like that had that he'd been in an assisted living home for about a year and a half. So but mostly I would say I've finally got my kids to where they're waking up and they're realizing, hey, maybe this isn't so crazy, because we have a boy over in Hong Kong, and I talked to him the other day. He called me give me his condolences, and he told me that he couldn't even go to work for 4 days because the business was shut down for their safety, and it was the first time in his life that he didn't feel safe to even go out and go to a store and get food for his wife and 3 children. And my kids had been making fun of me for stocking up foods, and I said, I don't care what they think. And then after talking to our friend over in Hong Kong and him saying, he's at a point now where he can't go out and go shopping, it was, the kids finally started listening to me. This was just a few days ago too. And I know one girl from California that did get on the Illinois on Discord today. She said that the Walmarts or one of the big stores up there had signs in the window that said closed, power outage. So they give you no warning there's going to be a power outage, and then they close the stores so you can't stock up. It's going to put you in the hands of FEMA whether you want to be or not. And I would never surrender to FEMA.
Yeah, no, great call. And again, if you get no notice, and then you would think that it would have the law would be that they would have to keep a Walmart open or something open where you could buy some food and turn off their power last. But I think that they did that out of safety as well for the businesses as well. Awake too. Thank you for calling, ma'am. You sound like a very strong person. I know that there's a lot of people praying for your son and your family having protection not only here but in Hong Kong.
I've been watching you forever, since it was just you and your wife with a sheet behind you talking on the microphone. And the reason I started getting so prepared and watching so closely was from watching your show and then getting on Discord and getting involved with some of the friends that I've started making on Discord. So I really thank you and Dex and all of the Foogle Fam and Discord for all the support I've gotten.
Well, I thank you. Right now, as you know, we've just had drama after drama after drama. We need to hear more of that. I mean, I know we have helped people, and for all those people that we helped, please make it known. A lot of people that are coming into this new don't know what we're about, and they just hear all this random crap. I mean, we're being attacked. I don't think that they want this being a news site. So
no, I don't either. I think they're trying to shut you down. But
you've watched me a long time, right, ma'am?
Long time.
Have you ever seen me to put anybody down?
No. You wouldn't do that. As a matter of fact, you're always asking us to build up everybody else and to pray for everybody and to go out and support the little guys and all of that. And I am a Christian. I do believe that God's in control of what's happening, and I'm praying for all of the family. And I think that it's just wonderful that you support the little guys, and the reason you've grown so big is because you do reach out to try to help people in need, whether they be YouTubers or they be family members that need help or whatever. And it's because of you that I knew to start getting prepared and getting some of the things I'm getting to where I feel when I've already told my family, whether you believe me or not, when stuff starts happening, come to my house. I'm prepared. I have food. I have the other things we need to keep us safe. And come to my house, and then we'll decide where to go or what to do. But no, I love the Foogle family, and I love the Discord family, and I'm glad I finally was able to stay awake and be up late enough to actually call in on the show. I usually fall asleep as soon as I start watching you, and then I have to watch it the next day on TV or on YouTube.
Well, thank you for watching, period, and I appreciate you, and please, keep watching, and thank you for being around for so long. That takes a lot. Just like, I know that there was a couple people tonight that just because I was saying certain things about this, they didn't like it, but they still stick around. They might disagree with me about the power outage situation, but they stick around like through 50 of these things where they disagree with me, but tomorrow it's a different story. So that's what we should be doing. I mean, everybody has a best friend that they disagree with,
Yeah, when I told my sister that they claimed it was because of the high winds and stuff, she said, "That's a bunch of baloney." She said, "It's not even windy here today."
Well, Awake 2, thank you so much for being around for so long. You have a wonderful night, and I'm praying for your son in Hong Kong, and hopefully he can, again, it sounds like he has got kids, and he's got to go get out there and get food for his family. And right now, the climate there is really, really bad. So much love goes out to you.
Yeah,
thank you for calling in with the real story. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and God bless.
God bless you. Up next, I was excited when I saw BOD. I love these guys. Dex, I don't know if you have that. No, I don't know. I don't know if that was for the.
It's there if you want it.
Shannon.
I would make sure you had it. So
Shan, who's BOD's, the husband, did a video. It was so funny, but I don't know. I don't think we'll show that. Well, we'll show it tomorrow if we've got permission. Okay. I'm not seeing BOD come through. These are probably my favorite couple in the fam. Okay, what's going on here? Hold on. Okay, now it works. If you could send over BOD. Again, thank you guys. I know it's currently says 3982, but it actually the upkept number has been over 4,000 for near an hour. Thank you guys. I just amazed. I wonder how some people find this show. I wonder where if people just look up live shows and see what ranks. I don't get it. So BOD is not being sent over. In the meantime,
one second, Adam.
There we go. Boom. Boom.
Hello.
Hello, Shan, my man.
Hey, there we are. We saw you trying to call us. Dex handled it, though.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, how are you doing? This is BOD and Shan.
Yep.
Watch your video. I cracked up. That was pretty funny. But
I heard that troll. That troll just needs to. They need to do something to him. He shouldn't even be on YouTube.
I guess you guys have to see the video. It's just freaking hilarious. Shan,
yeah, Bill,
actually go ahead.
Oh, his name is Billy Hill, I think.
Like Hillbilly?
Yeah, Hillbilly for short, I guess, or last name.
After seeing the video, I almost thought you know how the Daily Show does kind of sarcastic reports, or they used to, and same with whatever liberal Colbert or whatever. I almost think it would be funny to do kind of a conservative version of that, and have you be one of the people that does like a report, and you would have been a great person. Like, you would have been great on SNL or something like that. You were so funny.
Yeah, I've been in a few improv groups and sketch comedy groups, but it was really fun.
Your faces during that video are just freaking hilarious. So, let's see here.
Well, I'm going to keep scanning the internet to see if I can find any other weird characters who are saying bad things about the show, because it just really upsets me, and I don't think they should be doing it.
Oh my God, it was so funny. So wait, BOD. Okay, so Dex, is this which one is this? Can I show this, Shan?
Absolutely.
Okay, hold on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I didn't want to put it up till you said okay.
I love your wife talks kind of talks like you sometimes. Yes, definitely. You guys are awesome.
Definitely, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
While you're queuing that up, though, another reason we had called is about last time we talked about. I noticed there were different fleas. There's actually a super flea out right now. Those things are smaller, faster. They have large phalluses compared to the other fleas. I didn't design them. I just read about them. They're like immune to the flea poisons. The front line, the Advantix, and all that stuff's not working anymore. And then investigating further, I found that they had super rats. And these things are, once again, they're genetically different. I don't know if they're modified or evolved, but the rat poison doesn't affect them. They're super hypersensitive to a pheromone that comes out to that makes them afraid. So they can't catch them in traps. They're trying now to take a calming pheromone and put it on the traps and see if that helps. But these things are just running rampant. They found bubonic plague in a couple fleas that I heard in Arizona recently.
And typhoid too.
Typhoid, yeah. So.
And the rats, that's typhoid to the rat.
Oh, there he is. Who is that guy?
Okay, so can you explain who this gentleman is and what this video is?
I got tired of you getting bashed around on the internet, so I looked around to see if I could find somebody just to show you how stupid these people are. This guy really needs to be committed or something. There's something definitely wrong with him.
Okay,
I think he's like a few chromosomes short of a full deck.
So yeah. I'm gonna play. This guy just looks like a doofus. So let's play him.
Yeah,
and I don't normally say anything bad about anybody, but man, this guy really takes the cake. Shan, don't you agree?
I can tell you his hat's way too tight just by looking at him. It's cutting off the circulation to his brain or something.
Okay, I'm gonna play it for everybody. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I thought y'all should know the truth about that Marfoogle feller. The only time I ever seen him, he's standing out in front of a 7-Eleven on top of the ice machine wearing these Spider-Man underoos, I think they was. And he's throwing cats at people. And it was just really awful. And the police rolled up right about that time, and they tried to get him, and I kind of got close trying to help him. And he lifted up his Spider-Man underoos shirt, and he flashed me with some type of EMP or an energy weapon or something like that. Knocked me out for about 4 hours in the parking lot. And when I woke up, I was laying on one of them grounding mats. I don't know if you ever heard them. They're very comfortable. I felt very relaxed and very calm and just very rested. And, well, I had the cutest kitten I'd ever seen sitting right there on my chest. So, yeah, I guess he ain't that bad. But I thought y'all should know.
Yeah, there's something wrong with that guy. He needs some definite help.
Well, that hat, yeah, the hat backwards, and then looks like blood splatter on the flag. I don't know what that is. We need to get rid of that guy.
Yeah, it looked like cigarette burns in it or something.
What? Why were your hands up that high? Were you holding your hands up because the police were raiding? Or I mean, that guy was holding his hands up because the police were raiding him.
I don't know, but that wasn't true, right? You weren't throwing cats at people, were you, Mark?
No, and especially not while I'm wearing my nice Spider-Man undies. That's like church
true.
Sunday, right?
Wait a minute here. That's what you're a secret agent, man. You're a Spider-Man in secret.
I'm
You're
just
not supposed to tell anybody.
Okay, sorry. You gotta change your identity now.
Well, I'll keep scouring the internet to see if I can find any more of these just jerks who need to be exposed and just shown for what they really are.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll see one next week when you call in, and hopefully he doesn't look exactly the same.
All right. Well, it might be a little different, but yeah, we'll keep an eye out for it. But yeah, beware those super fleas and super rats because those are real though, and they can spread disease and just they're not nice at all.
Oh yeah. I also wanted to tell you, we live kind of close to Big Bear. We're not too far. I mean, we're like maybe less than an hour.
45 minutes?
About 45 minutes away from there. But if our car was running good, I'd go up there and investigate it.
Hey, that, and just to anybody, we have a lot of people watching here. If anybody does want to go up to Big Bear and see what's going on with the UN trucks, that would be great. Send us pictures or video. Well, BOD and Shan.
Yeah, Overland might drive us up there.
By the way,
Overland.
and somebody
drive us up there, Overland.
Somebody had Overland Rob, by the way, is awesome. So just to say real quick, these folks, somebody had to ask if this was a joke or not. That's Shan. Shannon's a really funny guy. These are my favorite couple from California. In fact, I spent time with them via Skype, along with Overland Rob and everybody else that showed up to the California meeting last Sunday or the Sunday before. Which I go to on my Sunday. I actually spend most of it hanging out with the Foogle Fam, going from meeting to meeting. In fact, after I did your guys' meeting. Huh?
Yeah, we passed the cell phone around, and he spent time with each and every person talking to them because it was kind of loud where we were, and it was hard to hear him. But I saw people like huddling in the corner with Marf. It looked like they were almost making out, but but yeah, it was just awesome of you to do that and take your time to spend with each and every person like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do that because I want you guys to know that this is real. The groups are more important than the show. You guys should be planning and having these guys have a cool radio. They have an actual police scanner radio that in fact your wife is afraid of getting it fixed because if they fix it, it might lose that you're not even supposed to have that signal, right? So
I got it at a thrift store for $15.
I know, it's super cool things like that. So you guys are a real big part of this community. People like you are what make this special. So I want to thank you and I appreciate you guys, and you are my favorite couple by far.
Oh, we appreciate you too. Oh, and you know what I think I heard somebody say something negative, and God forbid that somebody should find something that they love to do, that they're really, really good at, and that they work hard at and make a little money at it. Oh, man, that should never, ever occur. That's
Yeah. You know what?
Yeah, more power to you, man. You do what you love, and that's the key to being happy is find something you love and be able to earn a living at it.
I know, it's horrible.
I'm probably not doing that quite yet, but it's going to come.
In fact, they should actually make, they should take money from me after I spend 10 hours doing this. That I thought I should probably pay to do this, actually.
In the mafia, they should probably take your thumb for every show you do. You know what I mean?
Hey, don't talk like that on public. All right, hey guys, I gotta
get Sunsplash Revolution at the end of the show, man. It's Irie.
Hey, I also wanted just to touch on really quickly. I know you've been talking a lot about the electric stuff and everything that's going on. I talked to a client of ours that happens to work for not for PG&E but
Edison.
for Edison.
She's an attorney.
And she's an attorney there, and she said that I asked her if LA was going to be touched, and if our stuff was going to go off. She says she hasn't heard anything about it, at least not now. And she said something about P&G, they lost billions on the fires. And
I still think they'd make more leaving it on and collecting money for it.
Yeah, but it's like, the reason they're reacting like this is because of all the money that they lost, and they're trying to cover their butts. And she goes, and Edison would probably react the same way. But then I'm thinking they are kind of reacting the same way because they're shutting down some of what do you call it? So
they're going to shut it down every time the wind blows?
And other areas.
Yeah, likely story.
Anyways, I just wanted to tell you that I called her today and just to find out what was going on.
Well, thank you for calling. You guys are always awesome. I will talk to you probably off air as well, and next meeting.
Yay!
By the way, Overland Rob is an awesome guy. Like, he legitimately, good, nice guy. Thank you guys. Have a great night. I got to get the next caller on here.
Okay.
We love you.
Love you.
All right, love you too, guys.
Dexter, man.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so again, this is actually a story that was on the end that should have been on the beginning. UK ex-spy chief reveals big tech like Google know more about us than MI MI6. MI5? I always thought it was MI6. Internet giants such as Google or Facebook have more personal data on people than any intelligence agency has ever had or should have, believes former UK government communications headquarters director David Omand. This is a big guy in the namesake of intelligence, saying that they have more information on us than anything. It says the big revelation over the last couple of years has not been about government intelligence agencies. It's been about the private sector. It's the fact that internet companies know more than any intelligence agency ever should know. Sir David Omand, speaking on October 8th, emphasized the dangers behind profiting the information that people freely give to internet companies and dubbed it, quote, a major threat to democracy. So they actually, talking about they live and the subliminal messages that are going out, they know how to tweak your emotions, make you angered, and make you turn on something. I sometimes I feel like there's an actual like high level thing going on here sometimes. Very odd. Why are people turning against us for just, talking about news? Blue Moon just said that Grand Supreme News just got demonetized. It's pretty horrible. And that's why I said, he covers very similar things. If he's fair game, then so are we. He doesn't swear. He's Christian based. It's there's a lot of things going on here. As far as the stuff that they have on us, this is basically it. This says right here, Facebook and other companies like this have more information than the government. That says something. Who's really in charge? Is it the government, or is it the super PACs that get the politicians elected? And if they're able to control the voters, they're able to control the vote, they're able to control the bills, they're able to control what happens. Costco, a good example here in Washington, paid one of the biggest prices ever to get liquor sold in stores over 10,000 square feet. So basically they could sell liquor instead of having Washington sell it out of liquor stores, right? They paid millions of dollars to lobby for it, and possibly, and I'm just saying, the rumor that I heard was that they paid off some people. So democracy is something very kind of clear until things like this come into play. Of course, now Dex, you're there. So Dex, you recently did a video about yourself. You were very high up in the tech world. A lot of people don't know this, but Dex knows all sorts of things about the tech world. What do you think about this? Him saying that the government has, or that the companies have more than the government does?
Oh, I'm sure they are the biggest sources of the data. Look at Facebook alone, and look at Google. Google's got every search, everything you've ever looked for, every ad you've ever looked at. They've got it all. Facebook's got all of your interests, all your connections, when you're online, who you're spending time with, what your phone number is. Come on. They have more on you than the government has and love to have. And so, yeah, it's sort of it's not an aha moment. It's sort of a duh moment. We should understand that.
And by the way, guys, I wouldn't even talk about it in here if you want to keep this around. There's all sorts of things going on with this platform, other platforms. It's crazy. Dex, you kind of got out of it because of that reason. I know that for a fact. You did not want to be a part of some of the nasty things that were going on. And you were at a position where you could basically leave. So I get it.
Yeah. I made a choice. I made a conscious choice on which direction I wanted to go with technology, and it wasn't the path of AI and where they've been going with all this data.
Yeah, basically he had a Y in the road, and instead of AI, he went towards blockchain, which blockchain and AI are the two things that both of those things are going to be so much a part of our life coming in the, and we're not even in top, we're there. We are there. We're right there right now. And everything, this new future that we have is a scary one. However long it lasts. Well, Dex, is there anything you want to say that these were great callers, I have to say.
Yeah.
Whether
it absolutely was. The one thing I wanted to add, it's a little bit off topic, but it goes back to you talking about all of the fam and everybody meeting up with one another. You mentioned earlier in the show, I had a chance to go down and meet Jay Stone and her family in person. What a wonderful woman she is. Very, very passionate, very strong person. Just an absolutely incredible, love her to death. And I was also able to meet Central Florida Prepper and Mrs. Central Florida Prepper, and they are a great couple. He's a really knowledgeable guy. We all see him on YouTube, but getting to meet people in person and spend time with them, it's been fantastic. So, anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. I thought it was, again, as everybody gets on Discord, as people start to meet people locally and in their areas, it really makes a difference when you start to put faces to the names and build those relationships.
So, and by the way, this is Central Florida Prepper. He is almost at the milestone of 2.5 thousand subscribers. He puts effort into his videos. Him and his wife are absolutely awesome people. Again, I also would never, ever say anything negative about his wife. She is self-proclaimed redhead, and I'm afraid of her. Just saying. Don't hurt me.
She's awesome.
Central Florida Prepper and his wife are really funny. They're awesome. I talked to him for a good amount of time the other day when he was hanging out with Dex. I've always liked him and his videos. He puts effort but when you're actually talking to him on the phone, he is really down to earth. You guys should honestly go over and check him out and say hi and tell him, the Foogle Fam sent you. Now, I know most of you have already gone over there because we already love mobbed him. But again, it doesn't hurt for any new people to go over and say hi. Now is officially time for me to make a fool out of myself. I do something at the end of the show, which you've probably never seen before on a YouTube call-in show news thing. It's not an outro. It's not a shout-out. It's a shoutro. We will be right back after these messages from our non-sponsor at the end of the show, so we won't actually be back. We love all of you so, so much. And I am not killing time until I can get the song on. I control everything, including the mixer. Good night. Marf out.
Is available to take your call.
Whoa. Thank you so much, 3% Report Relevant Truth. Welcome back, Tom Briggs, CJ Blaze, Charlie Brannon, Tammy Farrell, April Osborne. Thank you so much for coming. And don't get a clone, just throw a small stone. Thank you. No ban on Sherry Ann. Best guess. What a mess. JT. So awesome and C, Mr. MJ Bates, and Jenny C, Mandy Choyinski, Blue Moon, Dana Marbler, and of course, OG Johnny B. We've got the Silver Star, 75, 75, 53. the Randy Newman. Stuff nose in my Lisa Johnson. And Lopez and Billy Rose and Ainley and Gregorio. Mrs. Fritz and Kumat might hang it out with that next gen Occam's razor. Everyone wants that melody where get the I know simply my divine. Sherry and Lee Rockwell and the hodgepodge Purple last Juice Mark Davis, bringing it back like the crazy Mexican. The crazy Mexican. Charles Brown, Titus Paul, Amy D, and of course, the most wonderful Ruby Rubiker. Anton Harris, Comic Scarus, Raspberry, and everybody Ferris. Oh. Foogle, Rose Vanessa, Rico Delta, everyone knows.
We're jumping in with the sleigh. We fall in love with everything. We never sleep, no. We're never gonna sleep, no. We're gonna stay up, way up, long as we're together.
And remember, Jenny C., you are nothing without the Ann Lopez of your day. So back in the day, when Jeanette Sheridan, or Sheridan, whatever, however you say her name, might have been here for real news. Calamity Rain, Jay Merritt, Gene Blythe, Jenny C., we've got them Richard Borbas. We've got the Shane XCS and a Cineclap fee with the C Jack Blaze for Pete's sake. For Pete's sake. Now, remember, you can go to marfooglenews.com, marfooglenews.com, for all of the articles from tonight.
Forever. Got my Echo Woe, bring it real no. Got my Cherokee move. Next gen for Pete's sake, get my Kim man. CJ Blaze with my nanny SB man. And really wanna see my Sky Angel. Bring it right down with my EMSC bangle with Mrs. Susan Big. Thank you to the other Susan and the Wayne Martin and the Richard Orma, Tina Crazy and Stacking Appalachian Clan Mama. And I'm Blue Lady 22. Got my Shastina, get my Greena. From ear to ear, that J-Stone. Now I pick up the phone with the Stephen Diaz and the Grandi and my Titus. Got my Rapture Girl now, and my LB, and my Catherine Really. Got my Brandon M and my Gloria White. Willis Sparks and gotta get it right. With my Amber. and my Lisa. Old rider going down the street with the cynic laffy and the hodgepodge. Never know about that chills to deluxe. Now we give 0. Dog and 5% battery to go, and it turns off in the middle of the shout drop. With the Cherokee Moon and the Deborah Monroe McGray. I'm about to stay with the Overland Rob. Thanks for organizing Stiletto like my jello. Cool Mad Mike says hi. Regal Snortful with the cause Reaper for you. See, ha, WB. Relevant truth. Ash Dance 1. Yes, yeah. Now we have fun. Bring it down like Jenny C. got them. Now we got the and a little. Gotta pick it up just a little. Marvin one time, young now son. About to eat it like Sputsy Love Man. About to bring it back like that Jamaican. Oh, Robin Miller got some. Next gen, relevant truth. Make sure to go check out relevant truth. Now we got that flat earth beacon. Jay Stone's a flat earth beacon. Cindy Hockett. In my pocket. Driving a Beamer with Mrs. Shastina. Sweet rims. Sweet dreams. Clan mama. No drama mama. Lisa Jones and EMC. Hanging out with Corey Guian. Don't know how to say the name, but that's okay. Elohim's one. Having some fun with Overland and that Bob April Rose. Always knows. Gotta kick it back with the April. Get a shepherd's voice. Barefoot lass with the Andrea and the Echo Girl. Got that Carly Lucy Wilson and the emoji of crying with the Taylor MCL.
Yo. Thank you, Casual Preparedness, for being here, BOD and Wendy Lou. Thank you for doing everything you guys do. I couldn't do it without all of you. And I appreciate each and every one of you for making the 4,000, 3,000, 2,010 happen every night. Because it doesn't matter how many people show up, I grind through it either way. Oh, you know what? I think it's time for the boom boom. That's right. Crazy Kelly, Texas in the house, and Old Rider is gonna ride until Old Rider ain't no Old Rider no more.
Cool man Mike and I'm coming with a J now. Red and overland ride. Got that Kimmy and got that Stiletto. Got that little body the beto. Now he better more that body Mullen and Elisa Jones and Alicia and Shanutan and the Ronda healing beyond the sunshine. Oh yes, we are be kicking it. Oh, thank you, come again with the PC grin on my face. And yes and no, I know that was in no PC say. Richie the Fam and boom boom. Then we get quiet all over again, we get quiet now. Tennessee and no CJ play. Swansea Love and the Elmer Shot. Recon Doctor and the Critter Pan. Cutepa and Jalaka. Petra and the Echo Girl, Mr. Stella, RC, Rebo Snuffle, and the Foogle Family. Boom, boom!
A boom boom. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And wrong button. Can't line the panther, man. You be shaking it like you never did, man. Tammy Farrell, yes, a bug boom, yeah. Yeah. Oh, the song ended very awkwardly timed, man, yeah. Yeah. Didn't have one lined up that time, dummy. Make sure to get each other's backs. Trust, loyalty, and family. That's what we're about. Trust, loyalty, and family is what we are about. Debbie Borba knows this. No, she's not going for clout. Letitia Stowe and Susie Q. Welcome back, Susie Q. Catherine Willie, you got to see me going out hanging with Stephanie. Moose Fox 7, bring you with the next gen. Got to go and grab her some Amanda. Some Amanda. Some Amanda. Some Amanda. Amanda. They make me the villain, hanging with Trish Keller. And now they want to say something about the Franco Di Ballerina. But they just don't know. You flung dung, I didn't flung dung. So who flung dung? Not me, who flung dung? Hodgepodge, right, Rose, Vanessa, and what do they say? Wanna see all the faith go down now. Elizabeth Coase hangs with Elohim's one. I gotta see the best guess. A Raymond Ripco, gotta say yes. Now we see Cherokee. Moon wants to hang out with Brandon Safasca. Safasca. Spank that naughty monkey. Is he nothing wrong? Oh, thank you. Got your Evo Snarfo. Gotta read me now where to be on the sunshine. Do you say Cindy Hawkins wants your mansion? Gazelle Brooks and all the rest of those friends of Testa. Yes, I said Testa. Won't you be a body for me? What about Yellowstone? Don't know. Susan's up before and the Susan Big Mole. Gary Clark got the best guys. And Dana Marco Page Robinson says so. Now we've got Catherine Willie like the Willis. Maybe she's the wife of Bruce and Susie, Gwen and the Galley. Prescott, Caliber Club and the Piner. Patrick Lee and Robert Hanna. And John Nelson's guy ain't the right page, the back page. You're never gonna go down, never right. Big wow, Kimbo, Bimbo, Nana Bo, Bim. Now I've gotta look right back at him.
Thank you guys for coming tonight. You know what time it is. It's you don't have to go home and you can stay here. Thank you for all joining me. I appreciate it.
It's a time, man, to bring your Becky Howard right to the front of the line, man, because you don't be skipping that iPad mermaid, no. And that casual preparedness, you don't be doing that, no, man. Yeah, we be getting that hodgepodge and the Shea Norton, man. We be hanging out with that trees killing, man. That RJ Ellis in a patch
chick nana, they be pissing out with the Gazelle Brooks, and oh yes, I like my nana. I've got to be hanging out with my London forever now, like my MG toe. Hanging out with my MG toe forever. Survival by any means, and now Trevor wanted to say something about my lord and lady Marquise, and now they have to say something about your lady. Overbuilt automotive in the Central Florida, prep for Jennifer Cox, and he never let her. And the Jonette Shatter never did nothing wrong. Now the North Olympics goes down, and now they sing a song on the bong. Nobody wanna stop on it. If you have it, pop it, pick it, pocket. If you gotta smoke a bong, and I don't care. If you wanna hang out here, you are welcome. Dex J, why did my voice go up? Is it still up? Why is it still up there? Baby, Raven, and tell me why it's Rip Hello, Faith. How did you get stars in your name? I've tried before many times, and it didn't work. Never have a way. Well, there's no way to go there. And my lord and lady, Marquise. Elizabeth Goldman, you be bonging again? Question mark. The Christina Zoo. My 45's got impressive range too, because I be exercising my second amendment. I got my red in my valley, man. Everyone stay safe. Awake 2, that was a great goal. Almost as good as the skis, the creeper, man. It's about time that we all love each other. And just bring it right back down. It's the last song of the night, you better make sure that you love it. Cause you better love you for you.
Yeah. Time I feel every don't fit in the seat. Rolling in the waves, flirting with the breeze. Got my sunny shades on, play my favorite song. Thankful for the charm, life rocking in my phone. I am looking for attention, I don't need the extra tension. Cause I'm in the fourth dimension, trapeze high in suspension. Now don't bother with the haters, cause they all be imitators. Real life manipulators, get it back up and see you later. I like me for me, I'ma be what I'ma be. I like me for me, I am who I wanna be. Don't need no apologies, just peace and serenity. No to the jealousy, Wonder Woman identity. I like me for me, I like me for me.
On the
Head over heels, you know how that shit feels. You think it's out of space, but I know that it is real. Sipping Topo Chico, La Coca Puerto Rico. Liquor dance, waterfall, anywhere that we go. I am looking for attention, I don't need the extra tension. Cause I'm in the fourth dimension, trapeze high in suspension. Now don't bother with the haters, cause they all be imitators. Real life manipulators, get it back up and see you later. I like me for me, I'ma be what I'ma be. I like me for me, I am who I wanna be. Don't need no apologies, just peace and serenity. No to the jealousy.
Whoa. Ray Hall just said, great show. Everyone, look at Ray Hall. She just insulted me greatly. She just said, great show. Oh, wait, that was. What, Dex? That's a compliment? Oh, thank you, Ray Hall. Everybody, stop looking.
Nobody else. I like me for me. I'ma be what I'ma be. I like me for me.
Dex J saying Alicia's #1 might piss off some other mods there. Like our #1 mod, Lena. LCJC family for life. All she had to do was not go crazy. You know what? It's time to say goodnight. And as always, I am very much in love with all and each and every one of you. So thank you. Uh-oh, what time is it? Oh, no. Dex, that was a great show. But I'm getting blown away as we speak. Dex, are you there?
Hello, Adam. I am here.
Dex, you were extremely loud. It must be climate change. I think there's honestly something wrong with people. Yeah, it's climate change. In fact, some guy just cut me off in traffic. That's climate change. I don't know where you're at. I don't know where anything is anymore. Climate change. Have a good night, guys. Thank you for joining me on Marfoogle News. Tell a friend and send some love.